It's how you answer your phone or greet a stranger or thank someone who's serving you. We love to be happy with people who show concern for us and thank us and tip us generously whenever possible. And when they perceive that person to be a Christian, their opinion about God is improved. Sharing your faith is rarely about leading people in the sinner's prayer, but always about moving everyone every day closer to Jesus. There's nothing more exciting than knowing God is using you to move people closer to Him. Join us at IgniteAmerica.com.
If you had your life to live over, what would you do more of? If I could do it all over again. Christian leaders share the most important lessons of their lives. Anne Graham Lotz reflects on things she wishes she'd done more of.
One of the things I would like to do over is spend more time with my children at a young age and get more involved in their schools. And later than that, one of my things I'd like to do more of, I wish I had called my mother more, especially towards the end of her life. I didn't call her as much as I wish I had, and now I know the other side of that, you know, how you long to hear from your children. And her life was very full, but I wish I had talked to her more.
Author and conference speaker Dee Buxton shares,
I think that I would teach my children more memory work, and I would have taught them things like the shorter Westminster Catechism to memorize. I read a lot to them, but I would read more to them. And definitely, if I had understood about idols of the heart, I think I would have overcome some of my besetting sins sooner. And when I'm speaking, I would have spoken less about myself and more about Christ so that their hearts would melt and their lives would be transformed.
The co-founder of Awana Bible Clubs, Art Rorheim, admitted,
I'd like to be a better witness than I was, and I think of the many opportunities that I blew that I could have taken advantage of, but God in His mercy has spared me. So once I look back, yes, I think my witnessing could have been better, to spend more time one-on-one.
This has been a production of Moody Radio, a ministry of Moody Bible Institute, based on the book, If I Could Do It All Over Again. Dr. George Sweeting, 6th president of the Moody Bible Institute, is now with the Lord.
The bottom line for him was he wanted to see people come to Christ. That was it.
So he had a real heart for evangelism.
Have you recognized Christ as your substitute who took your judgment so that you might escape the final judgment?
Moody Radio presents Dr. George Sweeting, a tribute featuring Billy Graham, Jerry Jenkins, and many more.
Listen Saturday afternoon at 4 here on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Helping you take the next step in your walk with Christ. And home of Mornings with Brian. This is Moody Radio Cleveland. WCRF Cleveland. WVMS Sandusky. WVML Millersburg. WVMN Newcastle. WVME Meadville. WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
Vladimir Putin says NATO is escalating tensions with Russia. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. As America and Britain discuss allowing Ukraine to use NATO weapons to strike targets inside Russia, Putin said the move would change the very nature of the conflict. He added that if the weapons are targeted inside Russia, it would mean that NATO countries are at war with Russia. An arrest warrant has been issued for an Akron man accused of live streaming the killing of his dog. Investigators say that Mark Wolf killed the dog in a violent manner earlier this year on Facebook. He was subsequently arrested on animal cruelty charges and then released on bond, but failed to appear for a court hearing on Thursday. And Akron's former Goodyear Middle School will soon be demolished. This comes as Akron City Council this week approved plans to demolish the building to allow for Industrial Realty Group to build a new building that will offer mixed income and senior housing. Sports and weather coming right up.
Moody has great resources to help your children know the Bible better and to know Jesus in a personal way. Today in the Word Family Studies. This month, we explore the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes in our family study titled, God Gives Our Lives Meaning. They'll learn that it all comes from a relationship with God. To get your Today in the Word devotional and free go-along family study, go to todayintheword.com. Spend time in God's Word together.
In sports, the Guardians fell to the Rays 5-2. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly sunny today with highs in the mid-80s. Currently, we've got clear skies, 66 degrees in Cleveland, 61 Akron and Canton, 61 in Ashtabula as well.
It's time for your moron moment.
Bald is Beautiful Day is celebrated each year on September 13th. Baldness is often a reason for anxiety and embarrassment. However, it's nothing to be embarrassed about at all. Baldness is as much a natural phenomenon as is having hair. National Bald is Beautiful Day is a gentle reminder that we are all beautiful the way we are. This is a great day to tell your bald friends that they are beautiful. And that's your Moron Moment.
Moron.
And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It is 6:02. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood, and I'm bald.
Broadcasting live from the Bob Divine Studio. It's Mornings with Brian. Want to join the conversation? Call or text now at 440-546-2255. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
I can't believe it's already here, but Friday is upon us. So many things happening. I'm feeling overwhelmed. We have Daria. She was gone a few days this week. We love that she's back.
Hi.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, Ron, you are beautiful.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are, Ron.
Thank you. Thank you, Wow.
Today is Bald is Beautiful Day.
Amazing.
Every day is Bald is Beautiful Day because it is beautiful. But today's a special day where we celebrate you, Ron Eastwood.
Well, thank you so much. I didn't intend to be self-serving, but when I saw that as I'm scrolling through my resources,
Okay,
I'm like,
you are.
I'm pretty sure you did it last year, too.
You did.
I think I did.
Ron,
I think
probably
you put it on
every
the
year.
calendar.
Make it an annual moron moment. You can repeat them.
we have
right.
Jamie Buxton from City Mission here.
Yay!
Hello.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
We love when you're here. We're looking forward to it
Happy to
all
be
week.
here.
And we were going to have Lauren with us, but instead we have a different Lauren today. We have, and I keep getting it wrong, it's Christian Autumn Girl.
Yes.
We talked about that this week on the show, and I
You
asked
went through a list, yeah.
of what it means to be a Christian Autumn Girl, and I was like, oh, you should dress up like that, assuming you would say, no. Because you and Daria say that to me every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You said yes.
Mhm.
But you're not fully geared out. Would you?
I can't wear a hat and headphones.
Well, can you at least just set it on your head for a quick second? You can also turn your headphones back a little bit.
Now she looks like a cowgirl.
It's not working.
Text live to 440-546-2255. Help us all understand, ladies, what is a Christian Autumn Girl?
I mean, do you see Lauren? She's pulling it off beautifully.
Scarves,
Like big scarves.
sweaters,
Tall
usually
boots.
knee-high boots. But
Over accessorized.
I don't have knee-high boots anymore. But
I looked for mine.
Basically,
but
you look
I
like a
couldn't find
trendy
them.
Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Han
Wow.
Solo is how I've heard it described.
That's it. I'm just got my characters mixed up. You're right, Daria.
Okay,
That's the
I'm going to
truth.
let that go for a minute because we're not talking about Star Wars.
Skinny jeans with
Yes.
rips. Must have rips.
Yeah, I never understand that, but go ahead, rip them.
I'm too old for the rips, I feel like. But
No.
Lauren can. I'm too old for ripped jeans. It's okay.
Well, you can't do the ones that girls do where it's like shards.
Well, no.
Just wear shorts at that point.
Yeah.
Shards.
But
Yeah.
I mean, you could do jeans that have like tears in them.
Very
You're a hip,
rarely.
cool mom.
No,
You
I'm
are
You
hip.
could pull them
Mom.
off, Jamie.
My-
You absolutely could.
I had a pair last year, and my boys definitely were like,
Who
you're
cares what
pushing
they
it, Mom."
think?
Don't listen to them. What do they know? They're high
Yeah,
schoolers.
come on.
You forgot the most important part.
They were
where-
like flooded pants, so.
Right. But now I came into the station today, and it's always the same. Lauren parked in one spot, Ron in another.
Yep.
I'm third. Usually I'm the bronze, okay?
Yep.
And so I pull into my spot, and suddenly I see your taillights go on. And
You basically sprinted to my car.
I was worried about you.
He sprinted to my car. His car was still on. His door was open, and he ran to my car.
But you know what I did? I pulled in, and her car was not here. And I was like, I'm not going in.
And you rolled down your window, and you were just like,
I'm fine. I'll be back.
And I was like, are you sure? Is everything okay? Because I was worried about you. You're my friend.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the kids were sick. Eddie
Yeah.
needs you.
No.
That was something.
I went to go get my PSL,
You went, which explain that to old people,
a pumpkin spice latte.
because that's what a Christian Autumn Girl would do.
Yeah, it's not my normal drink, but it goes with the vibes today.
It tastes better when you're wearing a sweater.
Yeah.
And it's a knit sweater is what you're supposed to wear, right?
I
To be a Christian
guess.
Autumn Girl.
This is the only sweater I really have.
Well, and I was telling my wife Sarah about this earlier this week because I asked her to borrow one of her hats because she has one or two of the Christian Autumn Girl hats. And when I explained to her what was happening, she was like, "Oh, absolutely. Give one of those to Lauren." Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's actually my wife's hat.
Yeah,
You
I
need to
asked
get
my
one.
2 friends yesterday. I was like, guys, I need help. What am I going to wear? I don't own these clothes anymore. So I'm going to have to kind of improvise.
But this still happens, though, Christian Autumn Girl.
It's not the norm anymore.
What happened? Are you okay?
It's like very 2016.
Very 2016.
Yeah.
Jamie.
I feel like it goes back further than that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it does.
remember.
I did it in college, so.
For sure. Me too. And my college was a lot earlier than her college.
What
Yeah.
do you do now? What do Christian girls do in the autumn now?
I don't know. Not sure.
You guys need to get together. I mean, there needs to be some unity here. Christian women. Jesus said, he prayed that we be one as he and the Father are one. I mean, come on. Christian Girls Unite. Come up with a new autumn girl. That was a stretch theologically.
Really
I know.
bad.
It raises your theological hackles.
Yeah.
Not that you have hackles, but
It's
you know
okay,
what I mean.
do. How about that?
Oh, okay. It's also fall, so it's like it's football season. It's high school football season.
Yeah.
My kids are
Yay.
excited. Jamie Buxton,
Yeah.
you love a good Friday night football game,
I love a good Friday night football game. I do.
and you're
Actually, I'll
cheering
take
for.
football any day of the week, and I get it 3 days a week. So, yeah,
Good for
yeah,
you.
3.
3 days a week.
Yeah, because I've got an 8th grader,
There you go.
and I've got a little flag football player,
Wow.
and then I've got a boy who plays varsity and JV. So I get
the
all the things
Nordonia Knights.
for the Nordonia Knights.
So
Yeah.
the varsity is Friday night and the JV is Saturday morning?
Sure is. Might as well just spend the night in the
stadium.
football stadium. Yeah.
What do you love about
for you.
Friday night football?
Listen, I thought through and through that I was a baseball mom, and because the boys have played baseball since they were little. I'm not really sure why. Sean and I did, but I was terrible. But I played softball.
Sean watches birds.
Sean watches birds.
I love the guy.
But he also does love to watch baseball, not in real person at a stadium. From home on our couch.
Yeah.
Because he's not a people person. That's because I'm enough people person for 10 people. Let's be honest. So Nordonia does this thing where at the beginning of the football season, they have family, it's called Green and White Day. And I was like, what is this? Because Micah decided as a freshman, I'm just going to try football. And so he did the summer stuff. We get there. All of the parents are there, the boosters and the cheerleading moms, and they've got all these little booths set up where you can get the stuff and you can buy the T-shirts and the sweatshirts, and there's grills going, and Jock Jams is playing, and there's inflatables. And I sat in the stands and I was like, this is where I belong.
That's so sweet.
These are my people. And, Nordonia is the same colors of my alma mater, Elyria Catholic. Woohoo.
Ooh.
And so I get to wear my green and white, and I'm just like...
It's like you're back in high school.
Just love it. Love it so much.
Yeah, and I'm embarrassed because just the other day, Sarah and I were in Macedonia doing some shopping, and somebody recently painted a mural under a bridge right by the Home Depot and the KFC.
Yeah.
That it says
It's actually
Nordonia.
like 3 years old. But yes.
Oh, well, if you're old like me, 3 years ago, it's like yesterday,
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, why would Nordonia be in Macedonia?
You never knew. I know,
it's made up.
It is.
It's
It
a
is
combination of
conglomeration.
three.
Northfield Village, Northfield, and Macedonia.
So they made up a name of a town that doesn't exist.
Or Nordonia. Yeah. There you go.
I don't know why I didn't know this. I've been here for a long time now, but I was like...
Lauren looks like she
I
knows,
knew
and
that.
she hasn't been here that long at all.
It's
I
not
knew that
super-
before I even moved here.
Well, it's not super common that... Wait, before you moved here?
Jamie told me.
Oh, she told you. That's why.
When I was looking for places
because
to live.
I was trying to get her to live by me.
And she's like, Jamie, I can't find this town of Nordonia anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not real common that communities do that where they make up a new name.
Yeah, I don't know of
Like
any
my
other.
kids go to James A. Garfield schools, which are in Garrettsville,
Right.
which serves a whole bunch of townships around. Nelson Township, Freedom Township, a whole bunch of some people from Wyndham. No, they don't. Not Wyndham. Get out of here, Wyndham.
Oh.
Sorry, they don't do that. But they didn't make up a new name.
Yeah.
Way to go, guys.
I mean, it's fun, right?
It's super fun.
I don't know. There you go.
There's a Revere local school district, and there's not a city of Revere.
There isn't?
No. It's just a conglomeration of Akron area townships and
I
suburbs.
can't tell you how many times Revere tends to be good at most sports.
And you're like, boy, where is this mysterious
Well,
place?
I go to Revere. I just assume,
That's
but
where you are?
I go to Revere. They're red, white, and blue.
Yeah. Richfield is
You're
probably
right.
the biggest
It
city
is.
in there.
Yeah.
Is that where the R comes from? Did they steal letters?
I don't know.
Because, don't look at me like that, Lauren Cuevas. Nordonia is a combination of two city names.
Yeah, but Revere is like a name already.
Well, Paul Revere did not found that town.
I understand,
I
but
kind
it's
of
a
thought
name.
he did.
It was a long horse ride. One if I land, two if I see. Quick, go to Ohio. Let them know. All right, it's 6:17. It's Follow-Up Friday. We got Jamie Buxton all day. We got topics to review. What do you want to talk about? 440-546-2255.
Founders Week, the nation's oldest and largest free Bible conference, coming this year, October 23 through 25. You're invited to join us for 3 unforgettable days of transformative teaching, heartfelt worship, and uplifting fellowship. Our theme, Transformed, the power of the gospel, anchored in the book of John. Come and immerse yourself in God's presence as you dig deeper into His Word and gain fresh inspiration for a closer walk with Him. For more, go to foundersweek.org.
This is David Harms with the ministry India Partners, and I have walked through the red light districts of Mumbai, India numerous times, and trust me, it is dark. Young girls have no joy in their eyes because they feel they have no future, and they'll be stuck in the trade for the rest of their lives. But once they get into a safe house run by India Partners, well, just listen. That is God at work, which is why for the last year we've shared powerful stories of safety, rescue, and care happening through the India Partner Safe Houses. These girls are safe from harm, well cared for, and introduced to the transforming and healing love of Jesus. Learn more about the power of rescue and care in a safe house at indiapartners.org/Moody.
Bringing Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania closer to Christ, one conversation at a time. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio, Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Shane and Shane, WCRF, Mornings with Brian. Those guys are fantastic. I was so blessed a number of years ago. They were at Founders Week, and I had my daughters with me. And we were sitting in the front of Torrey Gray Auditorium in Moody Bible Institute. And Shane, it was supposed to be a concert, but they just did a worship service, basically. Mm-hmm. And they didn't even care if it was their songs or not. And the students at Moody stood up and worshiped. My daughters were just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever been a part of.
Oh.
It was really, really neat.
That's how it is to be at Moody. Every chapel, every
Really?
event. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Lauren's a grad from there.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually was in charge of that whole event.
Mm-hmm.
She brought in Shane and Shane.
Mm-hmm.
Emailed with the Shanes, texted with the Shanes.
Could you tell them apart?
Yeah,
I could.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
I have. There's Shane, and then there's the other Shane. It's true. But they both have great
Yes.
value. I'm not saying one has less value than the other.
Yeah, one is like the leader of all the songs.
Like he sings all the
He
songs,
sings
plays
and
the guitar.
The other one is harmonizing.
He's the business
but
guy.
He does all the business. The one that's harmonizing does all the business. He's the one I worked with, like leading up to scheduling, all that stuff.
Yeah, he
So do you
harmonizes.
call him Other Shane?
No, just Shane.
Because he's like the background stage Shane. He's like the
Yeah.
He's
Someone's
into
got to
it.
keep it rolling.
He stands there a lot.
It would be as if both of our names were Brian.
Well, then which Brian would be the other Brian?
I'm
This
the
is-
background Brian,
And you're
the front man Brian.
I'm verklempt here. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I'm overwhelmed.
Mhm.
I said they both have value.
I know.
Okay, so you're happy?
Yeah,
You guys are both saying the same things in a good way.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know why he's so freaked
I
out
don't know
about
why
it.
he got.
You make me nervous
He
sometimes.
was like, "We're both named Brian."
You make me nervous sometimes. All right, 440-546-2255. It's Follow Up Friday. Quick reminder, Key Ministry has got a mental health and the church conference. It's a national conference happening at Bay Presbyterian Church in Bay Village, September 26th and 27th. We'll be there. I get to do the MC thing.
Woohoo.
MC Brian, wicka. And I'll be leading some panel discussions.
That's a
and
DJ Brian, just so you know.
Back in the day, there was MC. MC, the letter M.
Like
Like
MC Hammer?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Was he also had records that he was turning? Or?
You're too young to understand.
Oh,
I'm actually dressed like MC Hammer today. So I don't know what you're saying. I don't.
You know,
You're
when
a DJ.
When I
mean,
thought when I saw you this morning, I was like, wow, she really is too legit to quit.
I am. Too legit. Too legit to quit. Woohoo!
I'm unlegit. I'm not legit.
Join us for the Mental Health in the Church Conference. That's what that all meant. For more information, text KEY to 440-546-2255. Let's go over some of the topics for the week, see what you want to talk about. But you could call in with any issue that you would like to discuss that we haven't talked about before. Like, for example, Jamie Buxton suggested if you need help with a homecoming proposal.
Your ho-co-posal. I would love to be your helper because my son was way too into his
He didn't
own
want your
idea.
help.
He didn't
Yeah.
really want my ideas.
And you had a lot of ideas.
I had a lot. I texted quite a few ideas.
I'm just happy that we didn't have to do that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So dumb.
I wish Sean would
Would've.
posal to me every day.
Posal.
Really?
Have you met
Yeah,
me?
obviously.
Yes.
Wow. Poor Sean. Like in the olden days, we did this crazy thing. You'd like go up to a girl and you'd go, "Do you want to go to homecoming?"
Yeah.
And she'd say yes or no, and you'd be like, "Cool."
And then she'd skitter back to her group of friends and you'd
Yes.
saunter off to yours.
Let's be honest. Don't forget, unless maybe I'm the only person who was like conniving this way. What I would do was I want to go to homecoming with such and such. And you start spreading that word,
Yes.
knowing that it would get to
Of
such
course.
and such. And then you act shocked when he asks you.
There's a lot of background work because nobody wants to be embarrassed.
Yes.
Right, of course.
Yeah, the guy is double checked with all of her best friends to be sure there's a yes, on the horizon. But the actual moment is not dramatic. Like our friend Kathleen, I think I've told you this, maybe not.
I don't know.
Her boyfriend in high school, she used to be on the show with me, for those who don't know, Kathleen Zion. They were leaving Applebee's and in the parking lot, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go to homecoming with me?" And she goes, "I'm sorry, that's not good enough. You're going to have to work a lot harder than that." And she didn't answer and made him do a full proposal. So ridiculous. But if you need help, Jamie and Lauren and Daria will help you.
Oh, not me.
No, just Jamie.
That's not. I'm not creative like that.
But you're in favor of the.
So when it's time for
proposal.
Trey, he's coming to Auntie Jamie's.
Yeah. I'm sending them your way.
Yes.
Well,
That is not for me.
Yeah, that's how that works, I guess. So we had Mark Caleb Smith on the show yesterday.
Wow.
He was amazing.
It was great.
We talked politics.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk politics, you can. Just we'll remind you we're nonpartisan. So he brought up a lot of issues tied to politics and Christians. We asked lots of questions. So did you. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it, and we'll remind you that we are all called to be gentle and patient and kind.
Mm-hmm. We're not scared. 440-546-2255. And then Lee Strobel wrote an article about how apologetics is the key to reaching Gen Z. And I was kind of like,
Hey.
Yeah. But of course you wrote that because you have a lot of apologetics books to sell. Love you, but okay. Gen Z is getting scammed more than boomers online. Did you know that?
Sad.
These poor kids are like, oh, there really is a Nigerian prince. He's got money for me. I need to help him.
I've gotten 3 calls this week, and finally yesterday I said to Sean, "You did pay our taxes, right?" Like because
yeah, once it starts getting
because
more.
I was like, I've gotten multiple voicemails regarding my tax debt, and I just want to make sure we're clear, right?
Some of them are scary and somewhat convincing.
Yeah,
yes.
I just have decided that I won't believe anyone I don't know that calls me or texts me.
Yeah, that's right.
I won't ever believe any. That's the secret to not falling victim to scams.
Don't trust.
And again, this is not in regular life. This is in online and digital life. If anyone emails me I don't know and claims they need urgent help or need me to respond or open an attachment, not going to do it. Texting, calls.
No opening attachments. No clicking links.
No, ever.
No sending money digitally.
Nope.
No.
I actually hung up on the bank,
yes,
it's been
good for
about
you.
6 weeks ago because they said I had a fraudulent $6,000 charge. And I was like, this isn't legit. I called the bank back. It was indeed legit. Somebody had stolen my credit card information from a swiper, like a gas station swiper.
Oh my gosh, I'm so scared of that.
Gosh.
And yeah.
But it's a good thing you verified, though. That probably is as
They
smart
did
as...
tell me they were proud that I hung up and then I actually called the bank
yeah,
back.
that's smart.
That's what you're supposed to do.
It's what you're supposed to do.
If the bank calls you, say, I don't believe you, hang up, and then actually call the number for the bank. Very good. Jamie Buxton.
I know, right?
Good for you.
Yeah,
I would have been like, they're harassing me and never call them back.
The bank. They don't call you.
They called.
But they did call
That's
you.
nice.
Yeah. Gen Z, poor Gen Z. Also, Gen Z is way into nicotine pouches. Did you know that?
I don't even know what a nicotine pouch is.
They're into it. 75% of adults don't even know what they are. They couldn't identify it. And they're
Obviously,
all
I'm one
the
of them.
rage.
Me too.
Daria,
What?
you're not using one right now, are you?
No, it's in my car.
For those who have a hard time with humor, she's kidding.
Absolutely.
She doesn't do that. It's not in her car.
And that was a blatant laugh at her because we all know.
That couldn't possibly
She's being silly.
be true. 9/11 was this week.
Yes.
September 11th. And for many people, it was just like the same as the 10th or the 12th. But we took a minute to remember. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that. We could. Christian conformity. How do we unite as believers? How do we fit in culture? We talked about that. Plus some more things. We'll get to a few more, and we'll dig in a bit here. But we yield to you. 440-546-2255.
There's nothing so obvious as the fact that this world is not the way it should be. We weren't created to get cancer and die. We weren't created to have marriages that break. That's not what we were created for. I'm Darcy Harrod, and this is Pause for Prayer. That was a quote from singer-songwriter Michael Card, and he's put into words what I believe we've all felt at one time or another in this life. This isn't the way it's supposed to be, and this isn't what God intended. Let's pause for prayer. Father, your word states that when sin entered into this world, things changed. This was never your original intention. Isaiah 24, 5-6 says, The earth is defiled by its people. They have disobeyed the laws, violated the statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, a curse consumes the earth. Its people must bear their guilt. Lord, we feel this curse. But Father, I know that it won't be this way forever. You told us it wouldn't. Your love and grace is greater than our pain, and we have a future to look forward to where all things will be made new. You told us in Revelation 21, 3-4, and I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." Father, help us hold on to the promise that through Jesus Christ, the way things are now is not the way they'll always be. Thank you, Lord, for that truth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If you're 65 or older, you know this. Seeing your healthcare costs go up and up is frustrating. And maybe you were just notified that your Medicare costs are increasing again, or you're just tired of the massive deductibles. Well, here's some good news. There's a program that can really help with this. It's MediShare 65 Plus. It's an affordable, reliable alternative. You can choose any Medicare provider. You get telehealth access anytime you need it. And MediShare 65 Plus is a low-cost option for those with Medicare Parts A and B, and it fills in the gaps where Medicare stops. MediShare is a Christian healthcare community that aligns with your faith. People actually pray for you, they encourage you, and it's proven too. It's been going strong for over 30 years now. So call now. You can get one low monthly price for up to 10 years. You're not stuck with increasing costs. You can do something about this today. Call MediShare 65 Plus. Find out how much you can save. Call 833-59-SHARE. That's 833-59-SHARE. 833-59-SHARE.
Pour another cup of coffee and settle in for engaging, Christ-centered conversations. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Jeremy Camp on WCRF. It is 6:39. It's Follow-Up Friday. We got Jamie Buxton with us.
Woohoo!
There it is. Also, by the way, Authentic Intimacy has a conference coming up. It's the Reclaim Conference. It's going to be at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights, October 18th and 19th. They're bringing in Jackie Hill Perry. If you're not familiar, look it up. She's incredible. Brilliant, great speaker. Isn't she like also a spoken word?
Yes.
Poet? Mm-hmm. Anyway, check it out. It's all about how knowing Jesus really does change everything we know about how to navigate human sexuality. So text the word reclaim for more information. Reclaim to 440-546-2255.
And Julie pointed out something the other day, that it's open to men as well as women.
Oh, yes.
Which surprised me. I've always thought of her ministry as being to women, but this time the guys are invited too.
The guys get to go, finally. It's tough being a man. We're always excluded from everything, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Historically, even.
Tough life, historically. Lauren won't even speak.
Relevant Magazine covered this week as we review topics. We'll talk about whatever you want. 440-546-2255. Christian Autumn Girl. Lauren's in costume today as Christian Autumn Girl, if you're curious. She can't wear the hat because of her headphones, but we'll occasionally have her just put the hat on and look at the camera. Just, in fact, this is a perfect moment if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Slide off your headphones.
Take a sip of the PSL.
I already finished my PSL.
Pumpkin,
well, then
pumpkin
fake
spice
it.
latte. Yeah.
Nice.
There's the Christian Autumn Girl. It's a stereotype. It's a true one.
It is a stereotype.
With the blanket scarf and the chunky knit sweater.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Text
the way
live.
I live.
Live to 440-546-2255. There she is. Beautiful.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay. And then Christianity Today was talking about how it's incredible how much life expectancy has increased.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about a 90-some-year-old guy that looked at his 60-year-old son and said, "Son, what are you going to do with your life? You got your whole life ahead of you." And we're living so much longer, as in boomers really need to maybe reconsider what retirement looks like. Because back in the day, for their parents, retirement was, well, I've only got a few years left. I might as well play some golf.
Yeah.
Now it's, well, I've got a few decades left. What am I going to do with it? I found out that Awala is the new, like Stanley's are total Loserville.
Hey, 6 months ago.
This was a picture I took of my daughter's friends. Awala, it's like a brand of
water bottle.
Water bottle. It's so weird. The olden days, we drank from the drinking fountain.
One sip per day.
The hose, even.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I love some hose water.
Do you still?
Something about the metallic-y. Yes.
You just got to be careful if the hose was laying in the sun.
Ew, don't say that. Why? Not that I do it, but what happens?
Ron, you did this a lot.
You get hot water. It's not pleasant.
Right.
Oh,
that's what I would think.
well, you just gotta
they say
wait.
there's probably other stuff in it too.
Yeah, no, but
Okay.
it got hot from the sun, and so it's not refreshing.
Okay, you made it sound like way more dramatic.
Yes.
I'm just innocent Brian over here thinking about heat and the sun. I don't know what you were talking about. We also brought up, I might be one of the only ones, maybe there's one other person by text, but another parent was charged for their child's school shooting. And I have just some reservations. I'm not against this particular dad being charged, this Georgia father, because there was a lot of gross negligence there in their family. But I'm just a little reticent about parents being legally responsible for the actions of their minor children.
You're not a slippery slope guy, but I remember when we first talked about this. Now, I think the third case, when we first talked about the first one just a few months ago, you're like, this could be a slippery slope, and you're not someone to, say that.
Yeah, I don't like invalid arguments when it comes to debate. The slippery slope argument is one, but I don't know. I just wonder where it would stop. Like what crimes will parents not be responsible for when their children commit them, and how old can their children be when they commit crimes when the parents would be responsible?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference between 17 and 18? I mean, when you have kids, intellectually, nothing. There's no difference.
Yeah.
And yet, one parent be responsible, one not. Well, okay, 18, fine. How about the frontal lobe doesn't develop till 26, so if your 25-year-old commits a crime, are you responsible?
I don't know. I agree. This is one that I don't really want to touch. So,
okay,
moving
maybe
on.
we won't. And then we talked with your boss.
You did.
Linda Uvegas, CEO of City Mission. There was one Supreme Court decision this last year that hardly anybody talked about. City of Grants Pass versus Johnson. That really was about the city who was fining and possibly jailing homeless people experiencing homelessness. And there were no beds available. So they were camping in the park.
He had nowhere to go.
Had nowhere to go. So the city was like, well, the best solution for people, human beings who don't have anywhere to sleep, is to charge them with a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very troubling to me.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court was like, on a technicality, they're like, no problem. Keep doing that, guys. Sounds great.
Yeah.
You may want to talk about that one. We'll see. There's emotional benefits to going to church, but only if you attend regularly.
Oh.
Like psychologically, there's a lot of great emotional benefits to going on a regular basis, but just going every once in a while not going to help you. How your coffee order, or what your coffee order says about your spiritual life. There's a whole list. It's silly, but Lauren, what do you normally have? You have like a frittata?
A frittata is...
That's like an egg thing, isn't it?
Cortado frappuccino.
Frittata is a crustless quiche.
Oh, it's the eggs.
No.
What? Okay.
Eddie made you a cortado.
There we go.
Is that on the list? I don't even know what a cortado is. Here's mine.
What is it?
Iced vanilla coffee with cream.
Oh, that's in there for sure. There was something about vanilla in there.
French vanilla latte? Is that probably pretty close to what that is?
That's close enough. Sure.
Look, we all know there's nothing actually from France or any real vanilla in this latte syrup. Clearly, the French vanilla latte drinker is susceptible to counterfeit theology.
Oh.
Very likely also a heretic. Then we talked about some underrated hobbies and how to find hobbies and how hard it is these days to get one because just scrolling through TikTok or Facebook Reels.
It's not a hobby.
Not a hobby, but it feels like one.
Oh, it can be.
Jamie and I really have connected in recent weeks, sending each other funny Reels on Facebook. It's great. I sent her a couple yesterday. She sent me a few.
I did.
Just deepening our friendship. Feels hobby-esque to me.
That's nice.
But it's not. Some Christians are worried about singing other denominations' songs.
Yeah, that was odd to me.
They're worried about theological integrity of worship music so specific that it must fit with the theology of your particular denomination. And if not, we may not sing that song.
Yeah, I'm just confused.
A little wound up.
At how particular your worship songs are.
Yeah.
That it has to be denomination specific.
Yeah.
I want to see that article.
Okay. And then how to find common ground. Somebody was upset with this one, but it talked about to what extent can we partner with other religions for the common good of society.
Yeah.
Not in interfaith worship. We were way against that. Interfaith prayer, no way. But like, for example, to what extent can Christians and Muslims partner together to help a family whose home burned down?
Yes.
To help the homeless population. And some people are like, never. Some people are like, let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's party. So what do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? 440-546-2255. We'll continue talking in just a minute.
How exciting if God calls you to missionary aviation. Moody Bible Institute offers the Missionary Aviation Technology degree with a maintenance specialist emphasis. It includes engine overhaul, airframe rebuild, turbine engine maintenance and repair, avionics systems installation, and much more. Get started on your application today at moody.edu/aviation. Over 65 years of missionary aviation training. What an exciting way to serve God. moody.edu/aviation.
Moody Bible Institute is a special place. We're blessed to work here, and we'd love you to join us. There's a need for the tax manager. You'll be supervised by the treasurer and be responsible for all aspects of trust tax reporting, institute taxes, and sales taxes. It's so satisfying to use how God gifted you for His good by joining the team at Moody Bible Institute. Apply now at moodyjobs.org.
You're investing, right? But what about in your marriage?
It's not just like you say I do and then life is great. We need to make this a priority.
In a lot of ways, we're on autopilot.
Family Life's Weekend to Remember is your weekend to reinvest in each other.
It totally changed the way we look at marriage.
We invested in each other and it's paying off.
Register for any location nationwide by September 16th and save 50% at weekendtoremember.com.
Dr. George Sweeting, 6th president of the Moody Bible Institute, is now with the Lord.
The bottom line for him was he wanted to see people come to Christ. That was it.
So he had a real heart for evangelism.
Have you recognized Christ as your substitute who took your judgment so that you might escape the final judgment?
Moody Radio presents Dr. George Sweeting, a tribute featuring Billy Graham, Jerry Jenkins, and many more.
Listen Saturday afternoon at 4 here on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland from 6 to 9 a.m. Get your coffee in hand. Let's start the day.
Here we are, 6:50. It's a follow-up Friday, and I believe we have someone who's becoming legendary on this show.
Absolutely.
He shows up at events that we're at. He's the first one to text questions.
We're his biggest fan.
He's kind of mysterious. We don't know what's happening with this guy, but we love him. Is this the Cam?
It is, and little did you know, I'm outside your window watching you guys.
Cam showed up to Laura's
Wasn't he
home.
at Laura's home? I was like, I know Cam.
Yes, you do. He's legendary.
Hi, Cam.
Hi, guys. Good morning.
So what do you have for us on a follow-up Friday, Cam? It's mysterious. I don't even know.
So the deep wisdom point that I have this morning is regarding the how people are starting to live longer.
Yeah.
I guess not starting to, but are living longer. And the concept of retirement was something that I just wanted to briefly discuss. As I was listening to you guys discuss it earlier this week, I got to thinking that with how much honor we give to Dave Safransky, Jesus was really the original retirement planner, right?
Sure.
Because I was thinking Jesus is the one who says, don't lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where they can get stolen, but lay up your treasures in heaven. And where your treasure is, there your heart is also. So I'm only 31 years old, but literally I'm working right now so that when I retire early in life, my dream retirement is to be an elder, help disciple people, and then work at a car wash. I don't know why I want to work at a car wash, but I just want to do those things because I know that I can meet people and love people through that job and also serve my church. But I think you guys commented on how people have this concept of retirement where they just hit the beach and they travel. But that's just becoming, at least when you follow Jesus, that's just not a realistic concept of retirement.
Well, and 20 years into that would be a little boring. Be like, well, we've done that.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I love the idea of becoming an elder in retirement. I actually have seen a couple of guys in my church that's what they do. They've turned their service to the church into a full-time job, and it's beautiful. The car wash is a twist, bro. Explain that. What's the appeal?
I developed a very keen sense of self-worth from having a very clean car. Yes. I don't know if that's problematic, but I like cleaning cars.
If you want to practice, I'll give you my address, Cam.
Hey, I do have friends that bring me free stuff, and I clean their cars for them. That's not a joke.
Wow.
They park it in my driveway. They bring me stuff, and I clean their, they go to the store with their other car. I clean their car because I enjoy it. I have a black truck, and it's one of those trucks where if it rains a little bit, it gets filthy, and you can see everything on it. So I don't know. Maybe I've just gotten obsessed with cleaning my car.
I wish I was a psychologist. We could really dig into this.
Yeah.
I'd probably ask about your mom, and there'd be a whole bunch of things going on.
Yeah, it's probably from deep-rooted father issues or something like that.
It could be. You're not allowed to ever see my car. It's always a source of embarrassment. I spend a lot of time in there, and so sometimes it's easier just to take whatever, the water bottle, the wrapper, and just throw it on the ground. It's just, throw it right there. You wouldn't like that.
Well, you keep donkeys in your car, so of course it's got to be free.
Yeah, for those who don't know, we did transport our donkey to my house in a Subaru. It's hard to explain, and it's a long story, but I wouldn't do it again or recommend it.
But you did it, and
Yeah,
you survived.
I did. Cam, I'd send you something, but I think we've already sent you all the things.
All the things.
Yeah, you don't have to send me anything. I'm all good. Your voice in my ear is all that I need.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to send you my minivan.
Yeah.
Well, you're
welcome. I did want to say, I don't know if you guys commented on this on Wednesday, because I had to stop listening, but Dr. Rydelnik is in the Middle East. He's doing like a Journeys of the Apostle Paul or something like that. Did you guys know about this?
Oh, this is his boat thing. He gets to be on a big sailboat, right?
Yes, he's with Eva. I heard he brought a toga with him, and he is the Apostle Paul now.
Oh,
journeying down rivers and to Miletus and Ephesus, and so you can just get that image in your head.
I hope he watches out for snakes and things like that. You know, you don't want to be too much like Paul.
No, probably not. But you guys should do a. You know how he does those open line live presentations where he does open line live from a location? You guys should arrange that.
Oh, for him to come here and do that?
Yes, for him to come to Cleveland and do a live open line here.
Okay, well, just kind of, I got a little secret for you. So I mean, the rest of you, just
everyone hold your breath.
Don't listen. Okay, Cam, I'm going to lean in here. We're working on that, Cam.
Oh, okay.
We're working on it, okay?
You really don't have to whisper because you know I've already bugged your phone. So
That's true.
You guys do it.
That's true. We love you, Cam. Thanks for calling, brother.
Hey, I love you guys. Have a great weekend, and I will be listening in next week.
Sounds great. Can't wait for it. It's 6:56 now. I want to be a good boy and do what Lauren tells me to do. She thought I forgot, and I didn't. Ron, I'm feeling a little bit of the Christmas spirit at the moment.
I'm sure you are. I'm trying to compensate for that. Here we go.
Well, Moody Radio presents Christmas with Rebecca St. James. Sponsored by Compassion International and Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's coming up on December 5th at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights. Featuring as well some creative tap dancing and as well as a little message from the pastor, Scott Lesson. He's a pastor there.
Is he really tap dance?
He's a tapper, I think is what they call themselves. He's going to put on the tap shoes and tippity tap across the stage.
I think he actually is in Africa now, so he's not going to respond to you.
I know. I can
So we
still
can say
talk
what we
about
want.
it. That's right. I mean, I feel more freedom now. Would you like to go? Well, just for more information, go to moodyradio.org/Cleveland or call right now. We're going to give away a pair of tickets, right, Lauren?
Yes.
To caller number what?
6.
Almost a biblical number, Lauren. Well done.
Good choice.
Caller number 6, 440-546-2255. 440-546-2255. Call right now. Caller number 6 gets a pair of tickets. Turn that back up.
It's bossy.
Thanks,
It
Ron.
was a little feisty.
Some corn for popping. Come on, Jamie.
No, I'm not
Like
singing.
some corn for popping.
I don't know where we are in the song.
Me neither. So you just go.
We're in the solo part.
sing.
Yeah, jazz.
They're just doing jazzy stuff now.
Jazz hands.
Oh, we're getting close.
Oh, we could scat.
Yeah.
Skiddly boppy doo ba ba da ba dee doo. Da ba da.
We've
Jamie.
taken a real turn now.
You did it! Thanks, Jamie. Oh, it's so great. Okay, we'll announce the winner of the pair of tickets to see Christmas with Rebecca St. James, sponsored by Compassion International Christian Healthcare Ministries, in just a minute. But Ron will have to stop tickling those ivories.
Oh, okay.
And get to the news. And he'll do so here in just a moment.
Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
The FDA is authorizing the first over-the-counter hearing aid software device. It's 6:59. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. Hearing aid feature is made to be used with the Apple AirPods Pro headphones. It will allow the compatible versions of the device to serve as an OTC hearing aid for those 18 and over with mild to moderate hearing impairment. A Canton woman who reported earlier this week that her son's customized wheelchair had been stolen now says it has been returned. Community members had donated more than $4,400 to a fund set up to pay for a new wheelchair. The family says that money will be used to fix this chair and to put a tracker on it as well. And the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says a missing teen may be in the Lakewood area. Officials say 17-year-old Nathalie's Colon was last seen in Youngstown on July 1st. She's described as being 5'8", weighs 150 pounds, and has brown eyes and brown hair. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
Intensifying, increasing, up 388% in the United States. That's how law enforcement and Jewish organizations describe the rise in anti-Semitism since the October 7th attack on Israel. What is anti-Semitism and what fuels it? On Saturday, November 9th, Moody Bible Institute and Chosen People Ministries host the Summit on Opposing Anti-Semitism on Moody's Chicago campus. Discover practical ways to support the Jewish people and stand against hate. For more details, visit moodyconferences.com.
In sports, the Guardians fell to the Rays 5-2. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly sunny skies, and our high temperature today is going to be in the mid-80s. At last check, clear skies, 65 the temperature in Cleveland, 60 in Akron and Canton, 59 in Lorain, Elyria.
It's time for your moron moment.
Bald is Beautiful Day is celebrated each year on September 13th. Baldness is often a reason for anxiety or embarrassment. However, it's really nothing to be embarrassed about. Baldness is as much a natural phenomenon as is having hair. National Bald is Beautiful Day is a gentle reminder that we are all beautiful just the way we are. This is the day to tell your bald friends that they are beautiful. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 7:02. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Broadcasting live from the Bob Devine Studio. It's Mornings with Brian. Want to join the conversation? Call or text now at 440-546-2255. It's Mornings with Brian.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
It's 7:05 on Mornings with Brian on a Friday here at WCRF. It's Follow-Up Friday, and Jamie Buxton is here.
I am.
We love having Jamie here from City Mission.
I love being here.
Oh, that's nice.
The Czar of Fun loves
The Czar
being
of
here.
Fun.
And it's Follow-Up Friday, so whatever you want to talk about, we can cover. 440-546-2255, 440-546.
Thanks, Ron.
2255. There is one that Daria suggested that I'd like to throw in there, and it's a little spicy.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't think what you're talking about is what Daria suggested, but go on.
What do you mean?
I think you're misremembering, but go ahead. Please.
You see what I have to put up with, Jamie Buxton?
Let's hear what I said.
Let's hear what I said.
We had Mark Caleb Smith on yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Daria did suggest
I did.
this.
Yeah, I did suggest this one.
So let's back up a little bit. So I was what now?
You're right.
Who was?
You.
Okay, don't take it too far. This is why they get...
Yes, thank you, Jamie. This is why we get angsty, because you do this.
One
I
bell
trust and
was
believe that
worthy,
you're right.
and move on.
Yes, thank you, Jamie.
We all see the glimmer in your eye. It was a win. Just move on.
I'm all alone in here, Ron. So we had Dr. Mark Caleb Smith on yesterday for an hour. He's from Cedarville. He's a political science professor.
It was very good.
And we had a whole hour of your questions and our questions. We covered a lot of ground, from the Electoral College.
Why is there two parties? Is it the best thing to have two parties?
And
I
guess what?
listened again.
You can listen to it again.
Yeah, I listened last night again.
I've got part way through it. I have to be careful because my kids are always like, listen to yourself again, huh, Dad?
No, see, tell them it's called an air check. I do this because I need to get better.
They don't believe that.
And I did it because when you're in the moment, you're not really thinking about the whole.
Yeah.
And I wanted to listen to it as a whole, like out of the experience, to see how it went.
And there's a lot of depth in what he had to share. Because we got into some of the real important stuff when it comes to American government, that Americans are either forgetting or don't know about the why things are the way they are deal. And he also spent a significant amount of time talking about Christians in voting.
Yes.
In that there isn't just one way a Christian could vote. And he walked us through theologically, philosophically, how two Christians could reach completely different decisions when it comes to the voting booth. And that's a very controversial thing for a lot of people. So I actually love Tim Keller wrote before he passed and went on to glory. He wrote a great article in the New York Times about how we don't fit in either party as believers. And this ought to be our disposition. Not that you don't have passions for one party or another, but you have to, out of the gate, know we don't fit in either.
Our identity is not in the party.
No.
Our identity is in Christ.
And we're very nonpartisan. So is Dr. Smith, which is why we trust him so much. He's genuinely nonpartisan. It doesn't mean he doesn't vote, doesn't have opinions. So he does. But he loves Jesus more. He loves Jesus more. And so he's willing to talk critically about things, and he wants Jesus to be glorified, not his position in his party. So that said, we got some really interesting responses yesterday. And Daria, since it was your idea, share with us what you observed.
Yeah, so we were very, very intentional about being nonpartisan, being very balanced. We obviously are not swayed to one party or the other. And we had two texts within a very short period of time. One saying your speaker is clearly pro-Trump, and then another one that said you're clearly pro-Kamala. So wow. It's so interesting how you can hear the exact same conversation and you kind of just... You hear what you want to hear. I'm sure that was influenced by your own bias, one way or the other. So it's just very interesting that those are two completely separate takeaways, and you're really reaching because neither of those things was evident.
And now a lot of people would be disconcerted by that if you're not used to doing what we do. I actually saw that as affirming.
Well, that's what I said when I read the notes. I said, that's awesome.
That
you guys
we
did
were
exactly
accused
what
of
you're
both.
supposed
It
to
means
do.
we did our job,
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah. But I know that the individual who wrote, oh, I see how it is. You all are pro-Trump.
Right.
Okay. That person spent the rest of their day going, I knew it.
Right.
And they went and they told their friends. And the same with the person that texted us saying, oh, these people on this Mornings with Brian, they're obviously pro-Harris. They're secret and they're trying to convince us all.
Yeah.
Like they decided. And they couldn't be more wrong on either of those things.
No one yesterday shared who they're voting for. Nobody said anything about who they're voting for.
And to be honest, like, I don't really care who anybody votes for.
Yeah, I'm just saying no one was explicit in saying that, so you actually can't say what we are or aren't.
So I think the place we have to go with this is, why does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Because this happens to people in life in many areas. But they're accused of being something, and you go, wait, what? You think I'm that? And they're not that.
Yeah.
So my interpretation of what happened, so the Trump person, again, we are nonpartisan. The Trump person was very happy because he thought he heard pro-Trump stuff. The Kamala person was very angry because they thought they heard pro-Kamala stuff. So my thoughts are, the pro-Trump person heard something that they liked and just assumed that because they liked it, we agree with them politically. And the opposite being true for the pro-Kamala person. When he said something that stepped on their toes, they just assumed that we swayed opposite of them politically.
No, we just... we wanted to talk to a political science professor about how when you put the lens of Jesus in front of everything you do, you can look at things critically.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is indicative of how, as well, we've stopped listening and hearing as a culture.
Yeah, we're obsessed with categorizing people.
It's an obsession.
Yeah.
It's odd, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have a desperate need in this country to create for and against, yes or no, and to place everyone in one of those categories.
Right.
And nobody gets accused of being a moderate anymore.
No, it's not allowed.
No, you're either a flaming liberal communist or a right-wing extremist Nazi.
Right.
And there's nothing in between.
In fact, if someone were to claim to be nonpartisan or a moderate, the person would scoff and go, well, that's a lie. I don't even. So how did we get to this point / why is this a thing? Why are we so hell-bent on putting people into categories?
I think it makes us feel better.
What do you mean?
Because then we can go around and we feel safe because we know who we can or can't trust based upon their standpoints on things.
Yeah, it's like we need to know if it's like high school again. You're the in or out.
Exactly. Are you in or you out? Are you with me or are you against me?
Yeah.
Where are you? So I know how to feel about you about everything.
And that's actually, it's overly simplistic, and it gives the appearance, though, of comfort and safety, right? Like, if I know if you're good or bad, or in or out, I know if I'm safe. I know who my friends are and who they're not.
And it completely disregards the first and primary thing that we are, which is made in the image of God.
I think also people are afraid to have their own opinions. They need other people to agree with them. And so that's very validating.
Yeah, people are uncomfortable with someone who doesn't agree with them. So they need to pick out the people that agree with them.
Oh, and they don't want to stand on their own.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes they can't. Right? I mean, if we base our opinions based on what someone tells us is the case versus what we've researched and learned and know, it's pretty scary when someone challenges you because you can't defend yourself. Because you don't know. And then you slip into what's called an ad hominem attack, which is you just attack the person.
Yeah.
I do it for silliness, but it's like, oh yeah, well, your mom is that. Your mom's the one who's dumb. You just go right for the mom joke.
Or you start talking about their intelligence.
Yeah. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You attack the person. You didn't actually talk about ideas. But what I want to get into in a minute, though, is as easy as this is as a tendency for us to do. I have the tendency to do this. It is more comfortable to place people into overly simplistic categories and things. And do I like it or not like it? Like I decided a number of years ago, Pepsi is it for me, not Coke. I'm done. I've made a decision. I can't waffle anymore. It's easier this way. No, I'm correct, actually. I think Christians, this is the most unchristian thing you could do. Not the most. It's one of the most unchristian things you could do is to overly simplify all things in life and place people into one category or another. I want to think about this from a faith perspective, about how we handle listening in a politically volatile era here in just a minute.
A lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 877-58-BIBLE. That's 877-58-BIBLE. 877-58-BIBLE.
Pursue your passion for shepherding, teaching, and ministry leadership with a Master of Divinity from Moody Theological Seminary. New for fall of 2025. Earn the same world-class degree in a shorter amount of time. We've reduced credit hours to earn a degree while maintaining the quality and course content essential for effective ministry. Need flexibility? Take classes online or on our Chicago or Michigan campuses. Even interchange between all options on a class-by-class basis. Get started at moody.edu/MDiv.
Ever questioned your purpose in life? What was I made for? Why am I here? The Bible has the answers. Join Today in the Word for this month's Bible study on the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes. The study, written by Moody professor Russell Meek, will encourage you as you learn the answers to these deep questions. To join our study, download the free Today in the Word app or go to todayintheword.com. That's todayintheword.com.
Wake up in the morning, it's a brand new day. Tune into the station, gotta hear what they say. Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland from 6 to 9 a.m. Let's dive in.
I love a good concertina. It's 7:17 on WCRF Mornings with Brian, and we've got Jamie Buxton in all morning for a follow-up Friday. Yay, Jamie.
Yay, me.
And we're talking about, currently, we had a conversation yesterday with Dr. Mark Caleb Smith about politics in this season and how Christians should approach voting, how we should understand American government in a volatile era, answered lots of political questions, and we continued to, and I think successfully executed our nonpartisanship.
I think so too.
And we had, Daria observed we had one person text in, I knew it, you guys are all pro-Trump. And then somebody else, I knew it, you guys are all pro-Harris. I knew it, gotcha. And we see that as a sign of success, actually, when when we're accused of both. But our tendency to do that, to listen for gotcha, is a problem. And believers should not be doing that. And we're going to, what?
And also, to say that is as if we're not allowed to think something other than you. Like that someone's not allowed to vote for somebody else. And that's like, please tell me where in Scripture you see that.
Yeah, the presumption that because someone might have a different reason for voting or voting different than you, that they're a bad person is crazy. I mean, let's be honest. Very few politicians are good people. So let's not judge the character of their voters by who they're voting for.
But we take it a step further. There's a lot of Christians who, if you ask them, they'd say, well, no, I don't really believe that. But I think there's a depth at which people believe if you disagree with me politically, you're probably not saved.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's why you see posts
problematic.
like, I'm voting for such and such. Delete me if you don't agree. I just saw one this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
We used to be able to associate with people that disagreed with us. And that's become such a lost art.
Yeah, I appreciated yesterday Dr. Smith saying, these are not salvation issues. They're important issues. They are issues that affect our culture and affect how we live day-to-day life, but these are not salvation issues. And so to act as if they are is not right.
I mean, the introduction to Galatians, Paul gets really wound up, and he's like, listen, if you add anything to the gospel, like that's it. This is a Brian translation. This is not, you can't add anything to the gospel. And when people even begin in their heart to believe that someone who disagrees with them in American politics isn't saved, they've violated Scripture. You've raised up political affiliation to salvation, and that is not what saves you. we're all going to get to heaven and find out how many things we were wrong about, and there'll be a long list. A long list.
Oh, yeah.
I've got, I developed, and just from compiling some things, not like they're all new ideas, but I have a list of 6 things followers of Jesus can do to listen well when in an era like this. I want to get to that in a minute, but first, let's jump to the phones. We got Anonymous on the line. Hey, Anonymous, what do you have for us?
Hello. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
I just was sharing, I think it was Daria that answered my call, that you guys did a fantastic job yesterday. And I was telling her, I said that, and I agree with you guys 100%. You do such a fantastic job for us as listeners to not be on one side or the other, but to give everything straight down the middle and always with the Bible at hand and what the Bible says and pertains to. And I think that it's such an important thing. And when I was going back and listening, and I was kind of laughing because yesterday, whenever, you guys were talking about, you got one person saying, oh, you must do this, and the other person saying that, my first thought was that means that you did a phenomenal job of covering everything the whole way around the board. And it just is really, really sad, I think, in today's part where people are afraid to say, hence why I am as anonymous, because I know people who listen to this radio station, and it's like, you're like, I don't want someone to think, well, this is that or the other, because we have so much that we have to face in this political battle that it's just insane. And us as believers, it shouldn't matter to us who someone's voting for or why they're voting for them. That's our right to be able to vote. And I just appreciate the fact that in this tense time, that you guys you knocked it out of the park yesterday. It just was great. And I just wanted to affirm with you guys that, keep doing a great job. Keep preaching the word. Keep just bringing us in. I love your morning show and everything you guys stand for. So just thank you. Just as encouragement, because I know your job is not easy. I would not want to do it. I might be able to push the buttons occasionally, but other than that, I wouldn't want to do anything else. So, kudos to you guys. Fantastic.
Very kind and gracious of you. Thank you for that affirmation and for your words. And we're also, of course, grateful to hear that our intention is received. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easy to be misunderstood or poorly communicate, and so we're glad to hear that you feel that way. God bless you, sister.
Bless you as well. We'll see you guys.
You bet. So that was nice. Ways we should listen, because I think the texts we got from people who were making presumptions about our positions are indicative of really bad listening.
Right.
So how can we listen as Christians? And I'm just throwing this out as a proposal. Shoot it down if you don't like these. 6 things. First one, begin with benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
Particularly when speaking with a fellow believer. As in 1 Corinthians 13 says, love always trusts, always hopes. So what you're doing is you're assuming the best in others. You're not expecting the worst. And so before you even begin having a conversation with somebody, you just go, Lauren has good intentions. She cares. She loves Jesus. I can care about Lauren as I enter this conversation, even if we disagree. Like benefit of the doubt, all right? But a lot of us enter conversation assuming the other person is an idiot.
Right.
Yes.
Because you suspect they may disagree. Second thing a Christian should do is accept that that people aren't exclusively intellectually binary, as in they're not voter guides and check boxes. People are nuanced and complicated. It's possible for somebody to have a position that sounds contradictory to their vote. You follow me?
Right.
You disagree? Like, people are not exactly binary. They may have an I don't know, or a maybe, or a sometimes. They may not 100% agree with how you subscribe to, for example, what it means to be pro-life.
Right.
May have a nuanced view of that. Whatever that means. Don't make any assumptions of me, but I'm just saying, like, it's possible. Yeah?
And every party has built a platform of what they call planks, and you may agree with 2 or 3 planks and disagree with 2 or 3 planks. And so you may be leaning toward one party, although you disagree with 30% of what they're endorsing.
And that is possible and intellectually honest. Third thing, remember your fallen nature if you want to listen well. You are deeply flawed and biased.
Yeah.
And you don't know everything, and your assumptions are probably wrong. Like if you go in there with the presumption, I'm probably wrong on this. I got to have something wrong here because I'm fallen and broken. That's the humility we're supposed to have as Christians. I don't have it all figured out. Yeah. Okay, next one. Be conscious of confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to look for information that supports rather than rejects one's preconceptions. Or put another way, a type of cognitive bias or thinking that favors information that confirms your previously existing beliefs. As in, I think that the people that texted us yesterday that they're convinced that we're for one side or the other, they already thought that before it started.
Right. Oh, yeah, they had to have.
And so they were listening for that.
And as soon as they heard something that they believed confirmed their preconceived notion, they go, see, told you, told you. And they stopped listening. That's confirmation bias. You've got to be aware of it and know that you could be wrong, basically. Next, listen for understanding, not for responding. If you're formulating your response while you listen, you're not listening.
Yes.
In marriage, that's the hardest thing to do, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when Sean starts saying, Jamie, you hurt my feelings when you're suddenly going, no, I didn't. But no.
Well, actually.
You did.
I never hurt Sean's feelings. Actually, correct. Sean would never express that I've hurt his feelings.
And finally, to be a follower of Christ who listens well, you got to ask clarifying questions to ensure you understand correctly. Like, I've grown to assume that even if I think I'm listening well, I probably missed something. I was talking to a friend the other day on the phone about a difficulty they went through. And when we finished the call, before we hung up, I said, hold on a minute. I want to circle back. I want to be sure I understand you correctly. Am I correct that you said X, Y, and Z? And they'd go, yes. And I've done that with Sarah, where I go, if I understand you correctly, you're saying blah, da, 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 da. No, Brian, that's not what I said.
Yeah. Yes.
In fact,
I mean, either way is good. The clarifying is good.
Yeah, you need to do it. Because, in fact, our counselor, our marriage counselor, has served as an interpreter. She'll be like, Sarah, what Brian said is da, 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 da. She says it in Sarah language, and I sometimes can't speak that. And Sarah goes, oh, okay. So what do you think? Did I nail it a little bit? That's how Christians ought to be listening. You are starting with benefit of the doubt. You're accepting that people are nuanced. You're remembering your fallen nature, that you're biased and you're probably wrong. You're conscious of confirmation bias, that what you already thought may not be true. You're listening for understanding, not to what you're going to say in response, and that you're asking clarifying questions when you're done to be sure you understand. That's how Christians do it.
Yes.
Lauren's our theologian. Am I doing okay?
Yes.
No heresy in there? It's really hard to do. I'm terrible at this.
It is very hard. I don't think it comes naturally to us. We're always trying to protect ourselves. That's like our first thing. That's what people want to do, is protect ourselves.
Yeah, we're all on a hairpin trigger.
Yeah. Psychologist Ray Kane, I'm saying Ray so I don't be accused of talking about Nancy Kane again, my good friend and mentor. He says like 90% people are walking around triggered all the time. And we always have a choice to be reactive or reflective about what somebody says. Usually we're reactive.
Yeah. Isn't it beautiful, though, when it doesn't take you 3 days to figure out, like, oh, that was actually a me trigger, and, like, come to understanding with the person. I just had one this week where I was misunderstood. I was misunderstanding somebody else. And in, typical Jamie fashion, I burst into tears and got super emotional and realized in that moment that it wasn't even what this person was saying. It was an old trauma. That sounds more than what it was, but it obviously was a trauma to me, the way I was responding. I spent the whole morning in tears over a very silly thing. And what the person who I was upset by our interaction thought was, that I was upset about what she said, but it really was this old hurt. And it really was a beautiful, couple of hours of, we had words, then we had words again, and then we had words one more time. And it was like, I see how I had a part in this, and I see that it wasn't also you. It was me being hurt, and you just kind of reopened an old wound that had nothing to do with you. And we were able to get to that quickly. But it took effort on both ends to be like clarifying. I don't know.
Thank you for sharing that, because that's a beautiful example of being reflective instead of reactive.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds like initially you were reactive.
100%.
But you allowed yourself to go to reflection. What most of us do is if we feel hurt, we assume the other person's just a horrible person that's trying to hurt us. And we lock into that position.
Yeah.
And we play the victim rather than being reflective and going, wait, what's going on here? Why did I get so upset with someone I care about?
Well, and I'd give the credit to the other person who said, so you're reacting to this because I didn't like this. And I was like, no, not at all. I don't care if you don't like my idea. It's this. It's this imposter syndrome I have from way back. And you just unlocked it. Please don't think I care about if you like this thing that I did, or, this product I had created, basically. And it was a really beautiful thing of how when you're in tune with how to listen and how to also communicate, you can do better. And I'm not saying I get it right all the time. I'm saying that was one instance and it just happened to be this week.
No, but it was a beautiful example because the person you're talking to did what I was mentioning, which is asking clarifying questions afterwards. Right. I want to understand why you're upset. Yeah. I'm not going to assume why you're upset. Because usually, by the way, when we assume why someone's upset, we're usually wrong.
Yes. And she was. And it made me a little bit angry that what she assumed, I was like, no, that is like, it was not like the best moment of that interaction. Because I was like, no, that's not why I'm upset. But then I was able to go, oh, but why I'm upset really has nothing to do with you. So.
But that's such an emotionally and spiritually mature thing to do. And it's so hard, Jamie. I want to be like Jamie when I grow up.
No, you don't.
Like it's hardest to do that in marriage.
Oh,
This has been, Sarah, my biggest journey is trying to do exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, Sean and I do not have this down, but this particular occasion with somebody else, this was good.
It was so good because what I used to do is she'd be like, oh, you hurt me when you did X, Y, and Z. And I'd be like, oh, don't worry, I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
That's not helpful.
No. Not really, no. But it was a nice try.
I didn't realize how destructive that was for so long.
Yeah.
Listening well matters so much. And I think as Christ ambassadors, we've got to work on this and be really good at it, because in a country right now where people are not able to hear or listen to each other, and we make snap decisions and we condemn and we make people other, we need to stand apart. This is how we can represent Jesus, is be people in politics in particular who listen well and are gracious and generous and give benefit of the doubt and plant our flag with Christ, not with a party. 440-546-2255.
People don't drift toward holiness. Apart from grace-driven effort, people don't gravitate toward godliness, prayer, obedience to Scripture, faith, and delight in the Lord. I'm Darcy Harrod, and this is Pause for Prayer. Wow, I don't know about you, but this quote from D.A. Carson is a wake-up call to me. Every single one of us, without intentionality and without God's grace, will drift away from God, not toward Him. We don't automatically become more godly or more obedient. It's a daily battle that we desperately need Him for. Let's pause for prayer. Father, I confess that pretty much on a daily basis, I've allowed myself to become complacent, to let the busyness of life pull me away from You. I'm confident that at one time or another, every one of our listeners can relate. Lord, we know that true closeness to You doesn't happen by accident. We need Your grace every day to keep us on the path that leads to life. In Philippians 2:12-13, You say, "Continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill His good purpose." Father, I ask You now to please work in me. Give me both the desire and the strength to pursue You and work in the hearts of the listeners right now. Lord, help us all to resist the drift, to choose You daily, even when it's hard, even when we feel like coasting. Help us to listen to 1 Timothy 6:11. But you, men of God, flee from all this and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness. Father, keep our hearts aligned with yours, and may we always seek to grow closer to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Are you a ministry leader who wants to help people with mental health needs? The Mental Health and the Church Conference is for you. September 26 and 27 in Cleveland. Register or learn more at keyministry.org.
Dr. George Sweeting, 6th president of the Moody Bible Institute, is now with the Lord.
The bottom line for him was he wanted to see people come to Christ. That was it.
So he had a real heart for evangelism.
Have you recognized Christ as your substitute who took your judgment so that you might escape the final judgment?
Moody Radio presents Dr. George Sweeting, a tribute featuring Billy Graham, Jerry Jenkins, and many more.
Listen Saturday afternoon at 4 here on Moody Radio Cleveland.
They say family knows you best. Here's Brian's older brother with a message for you.
At least my little brother was able to make a career out of talking non-stop.
It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
.39 on WCRF, Mornings with Brian, Moody Radio Cleveland. Hey, we got an estate planning seminar coming up on the 16th, just a few days away. If you're thinking about maybe adjusting your plan for what will happen with the things you own and your investments and such after you die, this is a good time to go and learn some ideas about how you can do that.
Right.
We've got a team from Moody Bible Institute as well as a local estate planning attorney for this free seminar that includes cookies.
Nice.
Ooh. That's what counts.
I mean, I bring that up because a lot of people go, well, you have me at cookies.
I mean, you have me at cookies.
If there's ever an event that has snacks, Brian's going to talk about it. Blood drive, that all he talks about is the snacks.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best parts.
That's my assistant plans all of our meetings around food. Like, she wants to know, is there food provided? Where are we? To the point yesterday, we had a meeting, and then we went to a coffee shop. But as soon as we sat down at the coffee shop, it was like 10:30. She's like, I already know that there's a lunch place down the road. If we take more than an hour and a half here, we're going down the road. And we did. We have to walk down the road to then go and have lunch too.
Wow.
You got to love a snack and some food. I mean, I'm a snacker. So anyway, estate planning, it's happening September 16th at the Embassy Suites in North Canton. Text seminar to 440-546-2255 for more info. Text seminar 440-546-2255. So previously we were talking about a conversation for an hour yesterday with Dr. Mark Caleb Smith, political science professor at Cedarville. We were chatting about how we were accused in text message. One person accused us of, I've discovered you, you're pro-Trump. Right. The next person, I've discovered you, pro-Harris. We see it as signs of success, but I think that's indicative of the time we live in and how just gross politics have come among Christians. Politics is bleh.
And I feel a little bad. Nobody's accused us of being pro Jill Stein or any of the other candidates.
Yeah, seriously. Come on.
Pro write-in.
Write-in. I wrote in Jesus. And we got a couple of people texted in the same comment, essentially, while we were having that discussion, Lauren.
Yes, two people told us about yesterday. Janet Parshall talked about how half of Christian Americans don't vote at all. So millions of people probably.
Yeah, and both people, one of them more explicitly than another, was like, that is so wrong.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you not vote, ultimately. And so I don't know what Janet said about it. I missed the show yesterday. So I'm more like, I don't want to assume the worst in a Christian who doesn't vote.
Right.
If I'm gonna practice what we were just preaching, we need to assume they're not idiots who don't care.
Yes.
Yeah, I think sometimes the trying to make the decision makes people freeze.
Yeah, and that's what I want to try to figure out. Okay, so what are the legitimate reasons somebody may choose not to vote? I don't encourage that. I think it's a good idea to exercise your vote.
Yes.
For most of human history, we haven't had a voice in our government or in any government in the world ever. So it's a wonderful opportunity, but you are not a heathen if you choose not to do it. So why would a Christian not vote? You said they're paralyzed by indecision.
I think so.
They can't. Somebody might just go, I don't know who to vote for.
Yeah, they don't like either candidate, and so they just don't vote at all.
And that person may have heard Dr. Smith yesterday or maybe smart enough to know that usually a third-party vote is a total waste of time.
Exactly. And so people probably know that, and so they feel like, well, why waste my time?
Now, is that the only reason somebody may choose not to vote? That might be a legitimate reason, whether or not they don't hate America, they don't hate Jesus or something.
Yeah, I think it's a variation on that
like what?
In one way or another, that they have looked at both of the major party candidates and perhaps even looked down the list of available third-party candidates. In Ohio, I don't think we get even the opportunity to vote for many of them. But you look at the available candidates to you, and then you decide which you like better. And maybe you don't have one that you like better.
Yeah.
And so you would be paralyzed by indecision. And rather than just vote on a whim, you intellectually choose, I'm not going to choose one or the other.
I think there's also believers who are just disgusted.
Yeah.
They're so grossed out by how partisan Christians have become that they one of the reasons they don't go vote is because people would look at them and say, how could you not vote? It's so wrong that you won't do it. What's wrong with you? And hearing that from a fellow believer is disconcerting.
Yes.
And they're just like, I'm not even going to be associated with that madness. I love Jesus. I'm going to worry about the things of Christ, trust in God's sovereignty, and move on with my day. Another reason other Christians might not vote, they're working two jobs. They don't have time. Can't get time off.
Yeah, someone just texted, I don't vote when I don't have time to research the candidates. So you're not wanting to make
I appreciate that.
vote that you haven't thought about or researched.
Yeah, I'd rather people don't vote than make a bad vote as in like they didn't understand or didn't do their research.
Right.
People often don't vote in the judicial section because
It's crazy. Those judges are crazy up in there. There's like 400 of them.
And most of them are unopposed. I mean, this needs to be fixed, like in terms of, we shouldn't be voting for them. It should be appointments, but whatever. I'm not in charge of that. Because nobody knows what they're doing when they vote for those. Unless you come in with your paper. I try to research, and the ones I have time to research for, I bring in my little paper.
Yeah, I bring in my paper.
But I vividly remember there was a judge in an area I was living who was exposed for being pretty monstrous in the area where I was living on a national platform. And I went in proudly knowing what I was doing for that vote, and that person got reelected.
Yep.
Because they were the incumbent.
Yeah, and people don't know, and they just like, yeah, sure, you can stay. I don't care, you can stay. I did that too one time in Chicago. There was a judge who his rulings continually got overturned over and over and over and over and over by a higher court. And I was like, hey, something obviously is wrong with you. Something is obviously wrong with your rulings every time if they're getting overturned so often. So maybe we shouldn't be here. Maybe you shouldn't be the judge.
And did they get reelected?
I think so.
Probably, yeah.
They'd been doing it for like 40 years or something.
And so I think the aggressive Christian who is literally wondering what's wrong with people who don't vote might cause people who are Christians to not vote.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
And so I'm trying to say it gently because it's like the person who texted that, I understand their exasperation because that person may have legitimate reason to feel that way. Trust me. They may have served our country. They may be very patriotic for good reason. And they can't believe somebody wouldn't take an opportunity when it's such a rare thing in history. Maybe they're a historian and they understand the gravity of the right we're given and how it's so rare. But that kind of condescension can turn people away. It really can. So for clarity's sake, I think you should vote. What does Brian think? Brian thinks you should vote. You should vote your conscience. Do the research, pray, seek the scriptures. Vote in a way that you feel is clear conscience with the Lord. But I don't think that you're the worst thing ever if you decide you can't make a decision and don't. You can be as patriotic if you choose not to. I know someone's mad at me because they're like, no, tell people to vote. I just did. Vote. But I don't think there's something wrong with somebody who didn't do it. They might have an actual reason that could make sense. Yep. It's 7:48, time for a quick break. More in just a few minutes, 440-546-2255.
Moody Radio is thankful for listeners and support from businesses like Duma Meats and Farm Market. Duma Meats and Farm Market, supporting Moody Radio in Cleveland and surrounding areas. More information about Duma Meats and Farm Market is at dumameats.com.
Shame. The enemy uses it to keep God's daughters isolated, distant, and feeling unworthy. Meet Moody Publishers' newest author, Morgan Kruger. She has experienced this and wants to link arms with you, owning your beautiful identity as a daughter of God. Morgan lifts the burden of cultural lies and replaces them with truth and freedom in Christ. From author Morgan Kruger, Goodbye Hiding, Hello Freedom. Buy it now at moodybooks.org.
Pastors have to make tons of decisions, including what to do to meet healthcare needs for themselves and their staff. Christian Healthcare Ministries specializes in making healthcare decisions easy and affordable. Not insurance, but a health cost sharing ministry for over 40 years. CHM opens the door for individuals, families, and yes, pastors to be a part of a biblical way to meet medical bills. Get more information and answers to your questions at chministries.org/Moody. That's chministries.org/Moody.
Get up, get ready, and get going. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Here we are. It's a Friday at 7:53 on WCRF. I don't know. There's something in the air. Maybe I'm feeling a little Christmassy. Jamie Buxton, how many trees do you put up in your house?
Oh.
Here we go. Here we go.
She's looking embarrassed already.
I know. 4?
Wow.
That's not bad.
Almost as much
She's
as Lauren's
rivaling
mother.
the Jeej.
Yeah.
Gigi, Lauren's mom's grandma name, of course.
Yeah.
6 trees?
Not anymore, but growing up, yes.
Yeah. 4 now. More, but probably like 8 nativity sets.
Oh, my mom loves nativities. I forgot about that
I love
part.
a great nativity. A really different nativity I like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dana's all about Christmas decor.
Yeah.
I remember one time at a Christmas party, I sent her home with a bunch.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she was loving it. No, it's no problem. You're probably like, thanks a lot, buddy. So for those who don't have lots of trees, they have one. They're like, what do you mean you have 4 trees? Where do they go?
Yeah. So 1 is in our living room, and that's like the traditional
The regular one,
Yeah. And then when we moved, I have like a really tall entryway. And so then I found on Facebook Marketplace a really great deal and drove to a really shady area to buy said tree, but it's like a 12-foot, but it's just like very Magnolia Farms, black and white, cool tree. And then I have a Names for Jesus tree.
Where does that go?
Oh, the Names for Jesus tree goes in the kitchen this past year.
The names for so only the ornaments just have
Names
the names
for
of
Jesus. Yeah. Actually, my mother-in-law made them. And so then I bought a little tree to put them all on. And then there's like a kid tree. And last year, that one didn't even make it up.
Where does it normally go, though?
The kid tree in the basement. Like
where all like the activities are.
In the frat house is what I call it.
How does Sean Buxton feel about all this, your husband?
Listen, Sean does nothing other than grabbing the trees and
From the
giving me
attic,
the
yeah.
stuff. And then usually he leaves. And then I'm really frustrated because I've done it all.
What did he say when you came home with your front entryway 12-foot tree?
I can't believe you went where you went to buy that. But it was a really great deal, guys.
Yeah, I forgot my mom loves nativities too. I've gotten her one from every country I go to usually.
Yes.
I got her an olive wood one from Israel.
See, every good Christian needs the olive wood nativity
Got
set.
to.
I don't have one, so next time someone's in Israel.
Next time we go, we'll get you one, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, they have whole stores with those in them because they know that American
Oh, yeah,
Christians just
and-
eat it up.
Yeah, they really wanted me to spend a lot of money on it. And our bus driver came with me, and he was negotiating for me. He was bartering.
That's
He's
the
like,
best way to do
He's
it.
like, no, they're trying to get you. We're not doing this.
For you, special deal. For you.
$500.
For you, a very special deal.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember that guy
and he
told
was,
me.
And he was
Yeah.
like, no, that's too expensive. You're not doing that. He's like, let me take this. A little bus driver.
Nice.
I was like, okay.
That's the only way to shop.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, because it's not a special deal for you.
It's
What it
not
is
expensive.
twice as much as
Yeah.
locals pay is what that is. That's why it's so special. But we love Christmas around here. I know it's a bit early. Don't get overwhelmed. We're bringing this up for a reason.
It's almost over. It's just, we're doing giveaways this week, okay?
Okay. Good tidings for Christmas and a happy new year.
Wow, that was almost right.
Almost. Yeah, it was still a little off.
Moody Radio presents Christmas with Rebecca St. James, sponsored by Compassion International.
What
is
and Christian Healthcare
That was like a
Ministries.
pretentious accent and morphed into like an Irish-Scottish blend.
I was like, does somebody know who he's being right now? 'Cause I
nobody
don't.
does.
No.
Top of the morning to ya.
An
Rebecca
Irish
St.
Christmas.
James, also, by the way, speaker, wearing a leprechaun outfit as an illustration for Jesus being the pot of gold.
What?
Pastor Scott
Quit
Lessing
mixing your
doing
stuff
some
up.
teaching as well as her performing. Rebecca St. James.
Rebecca St. James, sister of, what are they called?
The Small Bone Boys. The
For King and
For
Country.
King and Country.
Musical family.
Was she kicked out or she was separate?
She was separate. She came first, obviously.
What came first?
Rebecca St. James.
The Small Bones or the St. James?
Yes.
The answer is the St. James. Grace Church, Middleburg Heights is the location. The date, December 5th. Be there or be square. We're going to be there. Rebecca St. James will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Daria's
there.
going to be doing a ditty. You know,
No, I will not.
she wishes you a Merry Christmas.
I was just working on some stuff this morning for it. It's happening.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, clacking away on my computer.
You're like me. You type real loud.
I love a good click of the keyboard. Back to Christmas.
And you love Christmas trees and nativity sets.
Yeah.
How would you, though, listening, like to go to see Christmas with Rebecca St. James, sponsored by Compassion International and Christian Healthcare Ministries? How would you like to go to that on us? Okay, we'll call right now.
I was going to say, I think they'd like it.
Ron, caller number
4.
Caller number 4 gets a pair of tickets to see the show. Caller number 4, 440-546-2255. 440-546-2255. All right, we'll tell you who the winner is here in just a minute. Meanwhile, if you are follically challenged, you must listen to today's Moron Moment. You must. It is for you. Here's Ron's news and today's Moron Moment.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
The Justice Department is investing $700 million in grant funding for survivors of domestic violence. It's 8 o'clock. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. That money is part of the 2024 fiscal year budget and will go to survivors under the Violence Against Women Act. Part of it will be used to address online gender-based violence, along with helping victims and survivors of domestic and dating violence. Giant Eagle has announced a promo that could ease the financial burden a bit on folks looking to fill their pantry. Through October 17th, the grocery chain is offering free delivery on orders of $150 and up with the promo code FALL4FREE. The promotion is only for orders placed on Giant Eagle's website or app. And initial filings for unemployment decreased last week across Ohio. That's according to the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, which says that for the week ending September 7th, just over 4,500 Ohioans filed initial filings for unemployment. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
God made us for community, for relationships, and because of that, isolation and brokenness are incredibly painful. Our souls were designed for more. Relationship expert Becky Harlins has written Deeper Connections in a Lonely World to help you end the ache of loneliness and embrace the rich theology of belonging. This book is biblical, practical, and healing. No more isolated, no more unconnected. Order Cultivating Deeper Connections in a Lonely World by Becky Harlins at moodybooks.org.
In sports, it was the Guardians losing to the Rays 5-2. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s. And right now, clear skies. We're up to 63 degrees in Cleveland, 60 in Akron and Canton, 54 in Worcester.
It's time for your Moron Moment.
Bald is Beautiful Day is celebrated each year on September 13th. Baldness is often reason for anxiety and embarrassment for some, but really there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Baldness is as much a natural phenomenon as is having hair. National Bald is Beautiful Day is a gentle reminder that we are all beautiful the way we are. This is the day to tell your bald friends that they are beautiful. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 8:03. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Broadcasting live from the Bob Devine studio, it's Mornings with Brian. Want to join the conversation? Call or text now at 440-546-2255. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio.
Mornings with Brian, Moody Radio Cleveland, 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
To WCRF on a Friday. It's Mornings with Brian, 8:07, and Jamie Buxton is in studio from City Mission. Hey, Jamie.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm here.
It's a big football game tonight in Nordonia. You're excited.
It's actually an away game tonight.
It's away tonight.
It's away at Solon. The Solon Comets versus the Nordonia Knights.
They're
It
tough.
should be like the Solon Sailors or something.
I think that would be nice. I also think it would be nice
The
if
seagulls.
Christians.
Seagulls.
And no, seagulls. They're so annoying.
They are.
They would just beat you down by being annoying.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that Christians in Solon should get together and say, you know what? Jamie Buxton serves Jesus, is on the radio. We ought to give them a win tonight. Let's talk to the guys. We could just kind of let it happen.
I don't need a win given to me, Brian. The Nordonia Knights are ready to fight.
Oh, wow, good response. You're so competitive.
I am so
Remember when
competitive.
I beat you in a game? So bad.
Yes. Speaking of competitive, my boss, Linda, was here earlier this week, and then we had our staff meeting, and she was like, I was on WCRF on this morning, and I was like, I'll be there on Friday, right in front of everyone.
Did you say that?
Like, what's wrong with me?
She's the CEO.
I know. Shout out to Carla, who likes to hear me on the radio too.
Hi, Carla.
From the City Mission.
But it's Follow-Up Friday, so we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. 440-546-2255, 440-546-2255. One of the things I wanted to bring back up, because somebody got, is it fair to say they got upset?
I think so.
Yeah. When we talked about a story from Christianity Today about a guy who loves Jesus, evangelical through and through, he's partnering with a guy that runs Interfaith America, who's a Muslim. They don't do prayer services together. They don't worship together. But what they both are interested in, this Christian, this Muslim, are how could we work together across religious lines for the common good of our community? Like service projects, whatever it might be. Like, how can we work together in our shared morals to do things we all care about? Like, for example, one of the 5 pillars of Islam is to give to the poor. Give alms to the poor is what I think it is how, in wherever the pillar is written down. And we're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And there was somebody who got kind of upset about it. Lauren, do you want to share that?
To be honest, it's a little incoherent. So I'm not sure I can share all of it.
I think they were typing fast. It must be.
Listening to you talk about different religions. First of all, God is holy, so these religions are not godly, biblical, or real. They were created by man. Secondly, I want to say that Titus speaks to about if a man is not a Christian and the woman is, being unequally yoked. Being unequally yoked. Third, Lord God is Almighty, who is Spirit and sent the Spirit to live inside of human beings, Jesus Christ. So, basically saying those other humans, other religions, are not seeing Christ came to be human, and these are man-made religions, so they're not equal, which I don't think is what we were saying at all. I think they might have missed a point.
Yeah, we were talking about service projects, not marrying them.
But I think this person, I've heard this idea before, that Christians really ought to only associate when doing good things with Christians. Like, we unite as followers of Christ in our shared theological perspectives, and we do good together. So if they want to do good over there, that's fine. If the Jewish temple or the Hindu temple or the mosque, if they want to do their nice things, go ahead. But we're going to do ours over here, and you do yours over there, because we're not supposed to be unequally yoked. We're not supposed to partner with unbelievers.
Being unequally yoked is not in reference to being friends with or in partnership to do projects with people of other religions. That's talking about being in relationship with, deep personal, lifelong relationship with someone who you're unequally yoked with.
And yet somebody might go, yeah, but Lauren, I hear you saying that. So how can this Christian guy even become close friends with this Muslim guy?
Well, first of all, how are you ever going to evangelize to someone if you don't become friends with them?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know anything
That's where
about
I
them?
was headed with this.
Mm-hmm.
And if this person is so dedicated to his Islamic faith, you know that you're not going to get in right away. And so just preaching at him from the streets is not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But what may work is showing him what the love of Jesus Christ looks like in relationship with him.
Okay, but I could see somebody going, yeah, well, as long as the Christians are leading the project, we want to be sure that everybody knows that, like, we will partner with Muslims or Hindus, but I mean, they're going to have to come alongside us, as we would say, right? Because we don't want to make it seem like we're Muslims. We want to be very clear that we're Christians.
Serving homeless people does not make you a Muslim person just because a Muslim person is also doing it. It's just being a good person.
But
you, because you are filled with the Holy Spirit, are looking like Christ because you are serving that population. They are doing it for a different reason, just to be a good person, but that doesn't make it less that you're doing it for Christ.
So like if, let's just say in your new church,
yes,
because you're on the radio, you suddenly get lots of authority.
Yeah.
And a local mosque comes over and is like, hey guys, just so you know, we're going to be doing a trash pickup day here in Cuyahoga Falls.
Mm-hmm.
You want to join us? What would you say?
I'd be fine with that. Serving our community.
But they're Muslims.
Okay, and they're trying to do something good
they're
too.
They're leading the project, though. You don't want to give the appearance of evil.
I don't think that is giving the appearance of evil. I think that's doing good for your community. You're telling me you go to work every day with someone with the exact same religion as you outside of this office right here? No, you don't. And you still do work with them.
So where's the line? Because I think when people get frustrated by interfaith partnership for the common good, is what it would be called, for like civic projects, caring for the poor, things like that, they're worried about a line being crossed that shouldn't be crossed.
Yeah, my whole problem when we talked about this earlier this week was I didn't like what the man said their purpose for their organization was. I think it was too giving. It was too like, oh, we are equal and it's all fine. We all believe different things and it's fine. And it's not fine.
What do you mean it's not fine?
Read what his little statement is again. It was about we believe that we have different views and those are important, but what binds us together is more important. And I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I can't find it at the moment, but that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, what we believe different things, and that's fine, and those are important. But what binds us together, our love for other people, is what's more important. Our commonality is more important, and unfortunately, that's not true. Because the thing that separates us from different religions is actually the most important.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe in a triune God who became man, who died and resurrected. They don't believe that, and that's vital to who we are as Christians. And so I'm not for his statement on what his organization's about.
Well, then how would you form a partnership for the common good that has clear lines then?
I think you can just say, we want to serve our community. We both want to serve our communities. Mm-hmm. We both want to pick up trash. We both want to serve other people. We both want to, I don't know, work at the food pantry. Okay, that's great. We both want to help people. That can be it.
So you don't disagree with their mission, just their priorities. Is that fair?
I don't know. I'd have to read it because I did not like that statement that he said.
Yeah, and this is where I think a lot of people would go, this is getting too complicated. I just am against it. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with the complexity of what a healthy partnership with another religious group could look like. Therefore, I'm just not going to do it.
I understand that.
See, I think as long as you are not marrying someone of a different religion, as long as you are not praying like with them, pray for them, but don't pray with them in a communal setting, don't worship with them. I think those are the only lines. I think if you want to have some sort of community partnership where you're, giving back, I see no problems with that, provided you are not actively joining your religions together.
Right. Yeah. So I could see, and it's happened before, somebody go, what we ought to do is have a prayer service together.
No.
Nope.
No.
You say no nicely.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where I remember an era where there were tons of articles about, well, don't we all pray to the same Godfather? No, we don't. No, because we believe Jesus is Lord. That's what distinguishes us. Just because we share some of the Abrahamic history doesn't bring us together. Now,
Just because they have a flood narrative doesn't mean it's the same.
there you go. Again, we got to be nice about it, but we would say no to that.
Yes.
You can slap me if I'm wrong, gently. I'm fragile.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure City Mission I know a Christian organization.
Correct.
Very comfortable partnering with non-Christians for the common good.
Yes. I mean, yes. When we have volunteers of other faiths, you can come and serve a meal. You can come and play games. You can do the things. But we do have a volunteer waiver like any organization. But we also have, and it is part of our statement of faith, just saying, here's who we are. We're asking you not to proselytize against that. So yeah, we've had Muslim groups. We've had all kinds of different groups come in and serve a meal. And as long as you're not asking us to pray the way you would pray before that meal, please come and we'd love to try your food and have you intermingle with our families.
And I think that's beautiful. Our team went to your annual banquet a number of months back.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I noticed right away. Like you were clear about who you are and that you love Jesus and that you're about Christians and Christians coming together, create an organization to care for those who are experiencing homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
But what a diverse group of people supporting what you do from different backgrounds.
That's one of the coolest things about the City Mission, I
Yes.
think, that people trust us. And even though there's differences, they trust the work and see the difference in the work and how we care with dignity for individuals. And you know, I think when I was thinking about the article, you know, I agree with you, Lauren, that I haven't read the statement that you're saying. I mean, but I think if we can agree that we want to treat humans with dignity and respect, and that's our agreement, I think Jesus is going to shine through in the Christians. And guess what? Maybe some of those other interfaith denominations are with rubbing shoulders with us could say, hey, there's something different about that Lauren and what is it? I mean, and that's our opportunity.
Yes.
That's our opportunity.
This is why I think in the way the culture is today, the church would actually benefit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overt marketing, but it would be great marketing in general for the church if we did a lot of things for the good of our communities and invited people to join us of all backgrounds.
Yeah.
We would be demonstrating for them that we're different, not sitting in our churches yelling at what they're doing wrong.
Right.
But we can maintain our theological integrity at the same time, as Lauren points out. Thanks for sharing that on City Mission. That's one of my favorite things about them too. I will say, just for clarity's sake, I hate the phrase, I need a new name for it. I was playing devil's advocate in that discussion, lest you think that I was revealing a position when I was asking Lauren questions. I think a couple of people thought, well, Brian, what do you think that for? No, I was just trying to get Lauren to think more deeply. It's not hard because she's a deep thinker. But
I was going to say, you didn't have to push that. It was already there.
But this is how you generate great discussion. Is you got to pick up an issue and you got to look at it from all sides and ask challenging questions, even to people you know that you agree with already. So don't worry about me.
For the record, I've had to clarify that that's who you are.
Really?
To friends who are like, he's kind of rough sometimes. He asks like really hard questions. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's his job. Just so you know, like, yeah, that's his job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have my back.
I do have your back, Brian.
Yeah,
That's why people think you're mean sometimes, because you ask hard questions, which is funny.
Hard questions are not mean. Like, how did we get to this point in society where a friendly civil debate has a mean person because they're asking questions?
Yeah, I'm just passionate about critical thinking. And the only way to critically think is to, like when you're in school and there's a debate and your teacher assigns you the side that you're supposed to defend.
Yeah, the worst.
And it's what you disagree with. You learn so much doing that. That's part of what I'm trying to do here.
And sometimes when you ask those questions, you're speaking for someone else who did think that question.
Yeah. Like I wanted the person who wrote these comments who was passionate. I don't think they're dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask questions that would represent their position and hear what you would say to them.
Right.
So whatever. Just my life. 8:21, time for a quick break. We'll get to more Follow-Up Friday in just a minute.
Moody Radio's thankful for support from listeners and businesses like Deerfield Ag Services. They help in adaptation of new technologies and techniques of farm and business management. More information about Deerfield Ag and how they can help is at deerfieldagservices.com.
You're investing, right? But what about in your marriage?
It's not just like you say I do and then life is great. We need to make this a priority.
In a lot of ways, we're on autopilot.
Family Life's Weekend to Remember is your weekend to reinvest in each other.
It totally changed the way we look at marriage.
We invested in each other, and it's paying off.
Register for any location nationwide by September 16th and save 50% at weekendtoremember.com.
Pursue your passion for shepherding, teaching, and ministry leadership with a Master of Divinity from Moody Theological Seminary. New for fall of 2025. Earn the same world-class degree in a shorter amount of time. We've reduced credit hours to earn a degree while maintaining the quality and course content essential for effective ministry. Need flexibility? Take classes online or on our Chicago or Michigan campuses. Even interchange between all options on a class-by-class basis. Get started at moody.edu/MDiv.
Dr. George Sweeting, 6th president of the Moody Bible Institute, is now with the Lord.
The bottom line for him was he wanted to see people come to Christ. That was it.
So he had a real heart for evangelism.
Have you recognized Christ as your substitute who took your judgment so that you might escape the final judgment?
Moody Radio presents Dr. George Sweeting, a tribute featuring Billy Graham, Jerry Jenkins, and many more.
Listen Saturday afternoon at 4 here on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
That's 10th Avenue North. It is 8:27 on a follow-up Friday on WCRF Mornings with Brian. Don't forget, Mental Health in the Church Conference is coming up September 26th and 27th. Bay Presbyterian Church. It's hosted by Key Ministry. National speakers coming in. Even Kay Warren from Saddleback Church will be coming in with her team as they really try to help us better understand and better serve folks who need mental health care, which is people like me. Seriously. I mean, it's anything from counseling to psychiatry, whatever it would be. So you want to attend with us and check it out? Text the word KEY to 440-546-2255. Before the break, we were chatting about a Christianity Today article that was encouraging the idea of interfaith work for the common good. They weren't saying pray with people of other religions. They weren't saying worship with them. What they're saying is that there could be and is value, in their opinion, for Christians working with Muslims, Jews, Hindus for civic organizations or for the good of the community. Okay? We got Matt on the line here that wants to join that discussion. Hey, Matt, what do you have for us?
Hey, yeah, I just had an opinion, and my opinion on that was that if you are serving, you should be, as a Christian, serving in Jesus' name. And so if you are with people of other faiths and you're doing like a combined service project, I have a hard time understanding how you're going to serve in Jesus' name, when you don't actually believe in Jesus, or, the Muslim view, maybe you believe he's Jesus, but you have a different perspective. So it's just, I was always at least under the impression that you want to serve in Jesus' name. And so if you don't believe in Jesus, it's hard to do that. Now, that doesn't mean like people can't come in from the outside, but I think you need to stress, we are serving in Jesus' name. We are serving because we want you to know the love of Christ.
And so, if I'm understanding you right, you're saying that you would be more against that kind of common good work with other religions because you'd be concerned that somebody would misconstrue your motive, essentially. Is that right?
Right. Yes. And I also think it can kind of make it seem like, as some people like to think, oh, they're all kind of together, because in the world today, you have a lot of, well, we have, as long as you have some sort of path, there's many paths to God and you can do whatever you want, but we know that's not true. And so when you do combine things like that, I think it can kind of send the wrong message. Now, if you are doing a Christian-led organization and you are inviting people in to help you out, like one of the other people said, when you have people from other faiths come in, I think that can work okay, except you just have to make sure, in my opinion, really strongly, that you are serving in Jesus' name, and that is why you are doing it.
Now, somebody might ask you, Matt, isn't it possible that if your church partner with a local mosque to, again, let's just say do trash cleanup, couldn't you be doing that in Jesus' name, and your Muslim neighbor not be doing that, and it doesn't change your motive?
That is correct, but I think much of the purpose of serving in that way is to show the love of Christ. And if you're showing, it's hard to show the love of Christ if it's out there in the open. If everybody knows that, if it's like a defined statement.
So it sounds to me like you'd even say, if the church led the partnership, you'd be okay with that. It's just that nuance of maybe following going along with a mosque. To me, the centralized goal would have to be Jesus. As Christians, everything is about Jesus. We can't do anything apart from Jesus. We can't do any good apart from Jesus. So when you try to have a thing like this where you are doing, some people are Jesus followers, some people are not, well, I just don't think that works very well. Well, I got to tell you, Matt, I love your heart for Christ. I can tell you care about theological integrity and you love Jesus, and that's super admirable.
Well, thank you.
I would say that with that logic, though, I'm not certain Paul would have had his preaching in Mars Hill on Mars Hill in Greece, where he went among a whole bunch of philosophers and a bunch of Greek statues of various gods. and talk to them about Greek philosophy in light of he thinks he knows who their unknown God is, and it's Jesus, right? He would have been in there talking to them, hanging out with them, could be misconstrued as being part of them, right?
I think that's slightly different because, he was definitely, preaching Jesus and contending for the faith and really making a point. He went in there not to say, I'm doing something with these people, a combined effort to do something.
I gotcha.
He went in there to say, listen, you guys, have this statue there, unknown God. I know who he is. This is who he is. This is the truth.
There you go. You're right. It's good nuance. Mm-hmm. Certainly thought-provoking. I'm anxious to get a response from the team here, but God bless you, Matt. Thanks for the call, brother, and for sharing your love for Christ.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. Team, thoughts?
He makes a good point.
Yeah, he does.
It gives you pause to think. I do think you can work together, but I'm seeing you do have to be cautious on what the public perception of that is. And there will always be some who will misinterpret, just like people read the Bible and get something way offline out of it.
Well, and then I have to just, if I'm thinking off the top of my head, what does it say about the gospel if your Muslim neighbor comes and says, hey, will you help me pick up trash out here? And you say, no, I can't, because people might see me with you and think I'm with you.
Yeah, I am not saying this guy believes this because I don't think he does, but it kind of reminds me of the argument where people say, why would I do something that is not actively evangelizing? Like, why would I do a service project to help the homeless? Because they don't need food, they need the gospel. It kind of reminds me of that line of thinking. And I think he brought up that we do everything for Jesus, and yeah, that is true. We are always doing things for Jesus, whether other people see that, realize that we've partnered with someone of a different religion or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that maybe we're getting hung up on the fact that this is organized work together? Like, because when I heard Matt, I heard, I do everything for the sake of Christ. And, that's how I live my life. So when I'm working, to feed the football team, or clean up after a baseball game, I'm doing that because, one, I'm a mom, but also I hope that the joy of Christ shines through me. And I do have relationships that now prove that, because people say, that has led to deeper conversations. Mm-hmm. I'm not working those things with all believers, but you bet if, when I'm at a baseball game, if there's an injury and this has happened, I'm the first person they say, come over here, will you pray with the boys? Or can you, and that to me says, I'm doing it for the sake of Christ. People are noticing, and they don't mind that they're rubbing shoulders with me. So are we just getting hung up on that this is an organization? Because in real life, I think to your point, Lauren, we do this all the time. We work with people who aren't believers. We finish projects together. Even if it's for the sake of getting paid, we're working together. And my work ethic in most scenarios is different than somebody else's because of my love for Christ and my call to work in, I know that's easy for me to say when I work in a ministry, but you know what I mean.
Jamie Buxton.
Sorry.
Thank you. No, what are you sorry about? It was great. We have to take a quick break before I get in trouble with Lauren. It's 8:35. We'll be back in just a minute to continue this discussion. 440-546-2255.
I wonder if you've been conscious of the darkness of the world around us this week. I wonder if you're conscious of it this morning. That Jesus is that light that you seek. He brings light into the darkness.
Here is Jonathan Griffiths with today's Moment of Truth.
There's hardly a starker reminder of the brokenness of our world than the presence of sickness, suffering, and death all around us. No matter how good life is for us, no matter how much we enjoy where we live and what we do, no matter how many loving relationships we have with family and friends, at some point, the reality of sickness and death comes crashing down on each one of us. And when that happens, when the phone rings with the message we've been dreading, when the doctor's letter arrives in our mailbox, when the bad news is shared by a friend, suddenly we learn afresh that we are living in a world where things are not as they should be, not as God intended them to be. If you feel the burden of physical frailty, if you are touched by pain and by disease. If you feel the sting of death or you fear its embrace, and who doesn't, look to Jesus. Come to Jesus. Come to him, because he is the one man who has power over sickness, disease, and even death itself. Telling us that if we trust in this Jesus and we follow this Jesus, he is able to bring us wholeness and life eternal in an entirely new creation. That Jesus is that light that you seek.
That's Jonathan Griffiths with today's Moment of Truth. To learn more, visit encounterthetruth.org.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-659-9838.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-659-9838.
Are you looking for candid conversation from a biblical perspective? You found it. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
838 WCRF. We got Jamie Buxton in studio with us. We love when you're here, Jamie, from City Mission. You're
Thank you, friends.
And Linda Uvegas is not here today.
No, she is not.
So if it was a competition, you
I'm
won.
just saying, she does a segment. I do the whole 3 hours.
So good.
You get up earlier, too.
Yeah.
Wow. Winning.
Sorry.
Hashtag winning. So we got a call from Matt, and I just loved Matt's call because I love his heart. And I love a good disagreement. We're talking about the idea of Christians serving alongside non-Christians or people of other religious groups for the common good of our community. Like, to what extent are we comfortable with that? And my example that I randomly gave, which I think is fine, is let's just say the mosque or the Hindu temple comes next door and, hey, Christians, you want to join us? We're going to do a trash pickup day downtown. You want to join us? And there's various answers to this. Lauren was talking about, oh, yeah, sure, I would do that. And Matt, thoughtful reasons why he said, no, I don't think I would do that for a variety of reasons. And again, to be clear, Matt, you're probably still listening. Matt's heart was because he loves Jesus and wants to honor him.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of disagreements I love then. You've got two people who love Jesus, don't hate each other, disagree. Look at that. The world didn't end.
Nope.
So we're getting some text messages on this. We're getting some calls. Did Matt change anybody's mind?
Not me.
You still would do trash pickup with Muslims?
I still would.
You wouldn't be afraid that people think you're doing it in Muhammad's name, not Jesus' name?
No, because if someone actually were to see us on the side of the road, they're not going to know what faith we are. And if they were to stop and ask, I would tell them why I'm doing it. To serve others because Christ served us first.
Yeah, and I'm beginning to wonder if the consequence of saying no to your Muslim neighbor and working for the common good would be greater than someone maybe thinking as they drive by that I'm a Muslim.
Yes.
And also, if someone thinks that you're a Muslim, okay, I'm not. So I don't know why that really matters. What someone thinks about me doesn't matter because it's not true. They don't know me. They're driving by on the street.
And they're probably not thinking about you that much.
Yeah, ain't nobody thinking about me.
Well, people think about you.
Right.
Nobody thinks about you more than you think about you. Those are just facts.
Except Jesus.
Nobody looks at me more than I look at myself.
That is also
That
true.
is true.
I take a little glance in the camera once in a while.
And I sit across from you, so.
Still looking. The beard is...
It's grown back nicely, Brian.
It's a little
unkept
unkept today. Got my skunk stripe here in the center.
Don't worry, fall shear is coming soon, so we'll shave it off again.
No, we will not.
Sure will.
No, I don't have to consent to this.
You did last time.
but I won't again.
Okay, then it's eyebrows this year.
No. Why is it always me? 440-546-2255. 440-546-2255. Let's go to line 3. We've got Elaine. Elaine, what did you want to add to this discussion?
Well, I got 2 things.
Okay.
First of all, the scripture says they'll know us by our love for one another. Just food for thought, maybe we should start to try to get along with brothers and sisters that, quote, aren't in our denomination or and not worry so much about the Islam. You know, I mean, we can't even get each other to be nice to one another.
This is true. I know I can't disagree with that at all. In fact, it's a heartbreaker for me that Christians are so mean to each other. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe me, it's like I have so much on my doorstep that I don't have enough time to see if someone else needs their stuff off. And second, I think it's naive maybe to think that it's like a benign activity, that they are proselyting very vigorously as we are with the gospel. So I would have to say that I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I would have reservations.
I understand, and I think Matt said the same thing. I just wonder, in that individual interaction, if I'm not thinking about collective perception, but that individual interaction, if I'm being apprehensive to a Hindu or a Muslim about helping serve the common good, what will that do in their heart about the gospel?
Oh, no. If someone asked me and they're of, a different faith, I would help them.
Yeah.
But as far as making it a collective, hey, we're going to get together and show, quote, a united front, you can't show a united front when you're fundamentally not even in the same book.
Oh, I follow you. It's literally not in the same book. I think the author of the article would say, so why not find things that we agree upon? And we can partner together on the things on which we agree. And in this case, it would be helping the community or helping the poor.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm not sure how you would. Well, for one thing, they'd know I was not Muslim because I wouldn't have the way they dress.
Sure. Yeah. That's true. You bring up some great points, Elaine. I appreciate the call. God bless you. I love it when people make us think. So thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Thoughts?
I think Elaine and I are ish in the same vein. I think people are getting hung up on the organization. Like,
what if a mosque came over? I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, if a mosque came to my house and asked me to join their trash pickup, that's a no-brainer. But would I go out of my way to a mosque to see what kind of outreach they're doing? Probably not, to join their team, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess there's a difference there. I think that's actually what Matt might have been saying too. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but so for me personally, and I definitely heard that in Elaine, me personally, the sentiment is clear. If someone different than me asks me to help do something and I can, I will. But I don't know if I would go out of my way to find an organization so vastly different than me to join their efforts.
And some sort of display of unity.
Correct.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, the good news for all of us is that this hypothetical just never happens.
I was going to say, it's not happening. If it's happening and someone knows, please let me know because I'd love to learn more.
Because, I mean, to Elaine's point, like, we can't even get along with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good luck getting Baptists and Lutherans to pick up trash together.
Yeah.
They'd be too worried about whether they've been baptized correctly or not.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't pick up trash together. So there's no mosques doing this. But to be honest with you, I mean, I remember I lived in the Broadview Heights area. I think it's in Parma. I regularly drove past a Hindu temple. Regularly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so the idea that this could be something that happened, sure. But I guess we have to get along with each other first.
It would be nice.
Do you have any reservations? I'm hearing lots of reservations. Lauren, you're still... Sure.
I'm not going to walk down to a Hindu temple and ask them to help me. I'm not going to do that.
Why not?
But if they came to me and was like, hey, we're doing this thing outside of your front door, could you help us? I would do it.
Why?
Because it's helping our community. It's serving other people.
And it's a way to love your Hindu neighbor.
Yep.
But you're not going to go knock on the temple door.
No.
Why? Hey, I'm Lauren. I baked you some cookies. It's like the last thing you would do is bake cookies and give them to somebody. And you would do that, but...
I don't know. I haven't thought through exactly why I wouldn't do that.
But at just first blush, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be walking down to the Hindu temple, the mosque, and saying, hey, can you guys help me do this?
And I'm sensing this from a lot of folks. They're going, there's something about this that I can't put my finger on.
Yeah.
And I'm a little uncomfortable with it, and I just don't quite know why.
Yeah, but if they came to me and asked for help, I'd say, yes, yeah, I'll help you.
Because saying no would be a worse message than somebody driving by wondering,
I don't think
is it a Muslim without a hijab, or is that...
I don't think the motivation for me is because saying no looks bad. I think the motivation for me is, oh, someone needs help, I'll help them.
Right.
It's not because, oh, I don't want to look bad because I said no.
I'm not saying look bad. I'm saying as an ambassador for Christ, if a neighbor asks for help and you say, no, I can't do that because I love Jesus, I can't help you, that sends a bad theological message to your neighbor.
Yes, but my motivation is because someone needs help. They're asking for help. I'm going to help them.
Gotcha. Lauren Cuevas, managing producer. 848 WCRF. Time for a quick break. We'll wrap up Follow Up Friday here in just a few minutes. 440-546-2255.
Moody Radio's thankful for support from listeners and businesses like Deerfield Ag Services. They help in adaptation of new technologies and techniques of farm and business management. More information about Deerfield Ag and how they can help is at deerfieldagservices.com.
Moody Bible Institute is a special place. We're blessed to work here, and we'd love you to join us. There's a need for the tax manager. You'll be supervised by the treasurer and be responsible for all aspects of trust tax reporting, institute taxes, and sales taxes. It's so satisfying to use how God gifted you for His good by joining the team at Moody Bible Institute. Apply now at moodyjobs.org.
God made us for community, for relationships, and because of that, isolation and brokenness are incredibly painful. Our souls were designed for more. Relationship expert Becky Harlins has written Deeper Connections in a Lonely World to help you end the ache of loneliness and embrace the rich theology of belonging. This book is biblical, practical, and healing. No more isolated, no more unconnected. Order Cultivating Deeper Connections in a Lonely World by Becky Harlins at moodybooks.org.
Keeping your eyes on Jesus in a changing culture can be difficult. Let us help. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland.
850 on Moody Radio, having a wonderful discussion, trying to figure out the boundaries of interfaith partnerships. And don't get scared if you're just tuning in. Same station it's always been. We love Jesus. We stand for the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even worship the same God as other Abrahamic religions because Jesus is Lord, right?
Correct.
But what we're trying to figure out is what are the boundaries of working together with non-Christians and other religions for the common good, as in community service projects, caring for the homeless, the poor. To what extent are we comfortable with that kind of partnership? Lots of interesting comments, 440-546-2255. Let's go to Chuck. Hey, Chuck, you're in Pennsylvania. What's your thought for us?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Good. Just a quick thing. I am driving, so I'm going to get this out quickly here, keep the discussion going. My thought is if we get asked to go out, I want to go out because obviously to serve the community, but also, and also, if I get to work side by side with somebody that doesn't know Jesus, I get to share Jesus with them.
Yeah.
And my motivation would be to share Christ with those people of other faiths because they're blinded to the light, and I get to be the light in a place that they think is light, but it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what you were saying, Lauren, right?
Yeah, I heard Lauren say that as I was waiting, and I love that because if we we don't go be with people that don't know Jesus, who's going to tell them?
Yes.
You know?
Chuck, I love it.
Yeah, and yeah. So thank you.
You stay safe on the road. Thanks for taking the time to call us, my friend. God bless you. Chuck and Lauren right there, throwing it down. He seems to be in pretty lockstep with you.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is great.
Yeah, if we just are always staying away from people who don't think the same way as us, who's ever going to tell them about Christ?
Right.
Nobody.
Squeeze in one more?
Sure.
Let's jump to Bob in Youngstown. Bob, what do you want to add to this discussion?
Well, my thoughts were that the scripture, and I'm going to misquote it, I know, but Jesus said at one point, come out from among them. In other words, be separate. And yet, the points that have just been made by the other gentleman that just talked and Lauren strike a chord with me. I think if we see a need that is that desperate in our community that we can be a part of something, why not initiate it from a Christian standpoint and let others join us? Because that would be like your neighbor's having a fight, and you don't agree with the fight, and you see both sides of it. Whomever you step in under their flag, you become their friend and the other person's enemy. Does that make sense?
Oh, I see. Yeah. Bob,
and I think as Christians, we have a powerful responsibility to present the gospel. That's our purpose of being here. Number one is to love and worship God, and secondly, to present the gospel in a proper light. And I do not believe I could do that under the flag of a Muslim religion or some other form of religion, let's say, that does not glorify Christ. Because it would put me as an individual in a position of saying, I agree with everything these people say. That wouldn't be what I would be doing, but from an outside observer, how do they know which is which?
Bob from Youngstown, thanks so much for your comments on that. I love that you're kind of processing it out loud with us, too. I love that. It's beautiful. Thanks, Bob. Lauren, you were digging through your Bible. He did bring up the call to be separate.
Yeah, it's in 2 Corinthians 6. And we all know that the Corinthians were crazed people. They were doing crazy stuff. They were living amongst the people. And what that passage is talking about is having the morality of the world.
Right. Not actually physically being separate from.
Yeah, not physically like doing things, but like you're sinning with them. You're doing the things that they're doing. You're having prostitutes. You're having multiple wives. You're having orgies. That's what Paul's talking about there. It's not talking about doing good works with them or living among them. We can't help that we live among them. We live in the world. That's where we live today. He's talking about doing the acts and having the morality of the world.
Very good.
In that passage.
I know there's lots more people that want to comment. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but thank you so much. You can always email us. You can text us. We love hearing from you. Love these deep discussions. God bless you. Now, before we go, Ron, I'm feeling a little Christmassy, and I have about a minute to feel this way. Why? Because Moody Radio presents Christmas with Rebecca St. James. Sponsored by Compassion International and Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's coming up December 5th as Lauren knocks over her water bottle. December 5th at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights. You'll hear a little sermon-y poo from Scott Lessing, Pastor Scott Lessing.
You need to say sermon.
Are you going to talk in that voice, that low voice, when you meet Rebecca St. James?
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Jamie?
that. It's a little
Maybe
weird.
I will. Hello, Rebecca St. James. I'm Brian.
Please don't.
Would you like to join us for the concert? Go to moodyradio.org/Cleveland, moodyradio.org/Cleveland. Get more information, buy your tickets there, blah, blah, blah. But we have a pair of tickets to give away, Lauren Cuevas, to number
5.
Caller number 5 right now, 440-546-2255. Caller number 5 at 440-546-2255 gets a pair of tickets to see Christmas with Rebecca St. James, sponsored by Compassion International and Christian Healthcare Ministries. Again, December 5th at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights. Call now. We'll announce the winner here in a matter of moments.
Are you ready? It's almost time. Oh, he's coming back, y'all, like a thief in the night. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, now. It may be morning, night or noon. I don't know, but it's gonna be soon. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? And oh, your soul be lost if he came back today. Oh, got my bags all ready, 'cause I don't wanna be on that day, I just wanna be ready on that day. Oh, be ready. Oh, be ready. Oh, be ready. And oh, be ready. Oh, be ready. Oh, be ready. Oh, when it cracks the sky. Oh, will we meet in the great diamond? I like that.
Before we go, we have a winner of a pair of tickets to see Rebecca St. James at Grace Church.
Congratulations to Leslie.
Leslie!
Yay, Leslie!
Woo! She will be at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights on December 5th to see Rebecca St. James.
And to see Brian.
Talking in his low voice.
That's right.
Cute.
And opening act, Pastor Scott Lessing.
Yeah.
Scoot. Pastor
Scoot.
Yep. And he actually may be the midpoint of the show or the quick ending. We don't know which.
He's actually the headline.
That's what he thinks.
Rebecca St. James is opening for Pastor Scott
Yes.
Lessing.
There you go.
I knew it. If you want to get your tickets, all you have to do is go to our website. Go to moodyradio.org/Cleveland, moodyradio.org/Cleveland. We tip our caps today, our Christian Autumn Girl caps, to the lovely and talented Jamie Buxton.
Thank you. Thank you.
May the Lord be with you. May he bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
Oh my gosh.
May he look upon you with favor and give you peace.
Good heavens.
Thank you,
That's
friends.
nice.
I'll take it.
And City Mission, them too.
Yes.
And Sean Buxton, we love him.
Okay.
Hope you see some cool
He's
birds
just
I was
today.
like, are we going to name all my kids and
There's
the Nordonia Nights and all of the things?
it's just about time for the big migration for the birds. He's got to be excited. It's fall.
No, it's not. There's no.
They're
We
leaving.
don't celebrate when they leave. Only when they come back
Oh,
in May.
sorry. I'm not a birder. What do I know?
Dang.
Guys, I'll be out next week,
Yeah. But the rest of us will be here.
and you'll have a great time without me.
Ooh, girl
Yes,
power.
we will.
Don't have too much fun.
We always do, actually.
Can you just be a little sad?
I didn't share that with you the first 2 times you left for a week, but I'm telling you now.
Can you be a
We
little
have
sad?
a lot of fun.
Why aren't I coming next week?
Well, they won't be sad at all. Who knows if they'll